Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Edmund, your host for the next few hours, along with Spence.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Bruce is here.
Indeed, I am.
The order is wrong, but it's all right.
That's
and
okay.
Mike is here.
Yeah, hello.
Good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is being brought to you by that VidBlaster guy, Tom Sinclair. So, Mike, I was going to ask you, is that capacitor, is it swollen?
Well, what we're talking about, for all those who don't know, which is everyone, my air conditioner failed last night, presumably after the big thunderstorm we had, lightning storm. When I went out, I noticed that the fan was not running on the unit, even though it was trying to. In fact, the motor is overheating. When I took my hand and spun the fan blade, it started running, which usually indicates that the motor starting capacitor is bad. When I took it out, I unfortunately did not look at it before it failed, so I don't know if this is an indicator, but it seems to me as if it is very bubbled on top.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it now, yeah.
I can see it, yeah.
I'm assuming that's normally flat like
Yep.
the bottom.
Yep.
In fact, I looked at some pictures on the internet this morning, all of the pictures I see, and they have this exact part. The pictures that I see show it to be flat, so I assume that it is bad. I am not an air conditioner repair person, so I don't know that much about it. I do know that if the capacitor fails on the fan will not turn, and as I learned a while ago, the other section of the capacitor goes to the compressor. If this unit has failed in both sections internally, then neither the compressor nor the fan will work. What I do know about electronic repairs is that you fix the most obvious problems first, and then you can troubleshoot what's left.
Let's hope the contactors are okay.
What other show is there on the planet where you can talk about air conditioner capacitors? Bravo, gentlemen.
By the way, Steve is reminding me, and I don't know why Steve is not on Computers 2K Voice, but today is August 4th, Mr. Sinclair. You're listening to August 4th show. Mike, when you spun the fan,
Yes.
did it come up to speed and the unit worked?
No. The fan continued to move, but it was not at full speed.
Oh, that may not be the problem then, because with mine, it would start and slowly gain speed, slowly.
Well,
but I mean,
it-
this is bad for sure.
And it did that too, but it also depends on the failure mode. If yours failed open
True.
and mine failed shorted,
True.
then that's a different failure mode. So
Good.
again, fix the most obvious problem first and
Good
go
point.
from there.
No, I mean, it's definitely bad because it's bubbled.
There is a solution to all these issues.
What,
And
go
that is just get rid of electricity.
Yeah, well, they're working on that.
Spence
Yes, they
will
are.
follow suit. You do it, and then we'll do it. Tell
All
us
right.
how it feels, and
All
then
right,
we'll
I'm
do
doing
it.
it now. I've got the big switch. I'm going to turn it off and see how it works.
Uh-huh.
I had an electrical issue when I got up this morning. The outlets in the bathroom were out, which are also on the same GFI as my refrigerator in the garage.
Oh,
So luckily it didn't get that. It must have happened during the storm. We had a really close lightning hit last night.
yeah, we
And
did.
I ran around looking at everything to see if everything was okay. And but it could have been the rain too, because I have these control two outside outlets, and sometimes if it rains really hard, it could pop the GFI because the outlets get damp. Despite having new covers on them.
We didn't have any lightning, but boy, did it pour.
You must not have
And
been paying attention.
Oh, believe me,
watching
I
the-
paid attention. Now, you did
We're
not
watching
have...
the
Yeah, Mike, you didn't have any power interruptions. How about you, Spence?
No.
Yeah,
power
ours
interruptions.
flickered quite a few times to the point that I went and I turned the AC off, turned my computer off, but it was really annoying. I mean, ever since Duke took over, it is just, I don't know what they do.
They sold half the copper.
Yeah.
They just pulled it out and said, well, we need to make some money, so.
Yep, they sold it. That's right. Hold it.
We had we were watching the radar last night, and it looked like it was going to pass us. And it rained for a few minutes, and then it seemed like it let up, and then it poured.
Yeah, and then it started erupting kind of and opening up. Yeah, it wasn't fun. No fun at all.
One of the things that I like to do is read magazines about audio, music, and electronics and so forth. One of the magazines that I read is called Electronic Musician. It bills itself as the ultimate home studio magazine. One of the most prolific audio writers, I don't know how good or bad he is, but he's everywhere, is a guy by the name of Craig Anderton, Anderton, like Anderson with a T. And to my amazement, he just published an article that he says, during a semi-successful time machine experiment, I traveled back to the 80s. Apparently, I wrote this Craigslist while I was there because I just found this text today on a Macintosh 3.5-inch floppy disk while I was cleaning up. And what he has listed here are 5 reasons why computers are going to be great for music. Now, remember, back in the old days, music was recorded originally on wire recorders, then for many, many, many years, reel-to-reel tape machines. Multi-track tape machines, 2-inch tape, 1-inch tape, half-inch tape, quarter-inch tape. That being said, and about the 80s when computers hit, then the geeks started saying, how can we use these newfangled technologies to make music? Well, back in the 80s, here's what Craig wrote. Number 1, there are tons of computer options for music. Atari, Mac, Amiga, PC, Yamaha's CX5M. And if you're on a budget, even the Commodore 64 or Timex Sinclair 1000 will do the job. Mm-hmm. So don't worry. You're never going to be forced to choose solely between a boring PC or an overpriced Mac.
What year was that?
The 80s is all we know. He's not sure of the date. By the way...
Wait. No, there was no Mac. Unless it was toward the end. Yeah.
Oh, there was a Mac in the early 80s. The Mac was out.
No, it was Apple II. It was not a Mac.
Oh, the Mac. No, the Mac. The original Mac, the gray screen Mac came out in the mid '80s.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say it was probably toward the end.
Yeah, he says the '80s. Apparently, he doesn't know the exact date.
All right, never mind. Yeah, so
I'm going to add my commentary after each one of these for anyone who's not that up to date on the music side of things. He says you're never going to be forced to choose solely between a boring PC or an overpriced Mac. Those are the only 2 choices now, by the way. Number 2, you'll appreciate this one. 0 problems. Strings break. Pianos always go out of tune. Tape stretches. Recorders need biasing. Ugh. But computers are digital, so they run on tidy little ones and zeros, not prissy analog circuitry. Forget about maintenance. Boot your computer, open your program, and start recording. Nothing can go wrong. No comment. Number 3, software will cost next to nothing. Today's unbreakable copy protection schemes will put a stop to that digital copying that plagued the early days of computers. Because software developers will be paid fairly for their efforts, they'll be able to keep prices way down and make your wallet happy, happy, happy. Number 4, and I looked to see if this was the April 1st issue. Number 4, computers are great investments. Computers are extremely reliable, so when you buy a computer and software, they'll keep doing what they do, just like a guitar. 10 years from now, you'll still be able to run your favorite software on your favorite computer. Talk about value. Number 5, computers are not dictators. We're not talking about how computers won't change your drummer's timing, retune your vocals into something weird and soulless, repeat the same sections of music over and over again, or kill your dynamics. Computers are your faithful servants and will do exactly what you tell them to do. Well, actually, that could be a problem. Now, this last one requires a little bit of explanation. Let's go back to what he says. He says that computers won't change your drummer's timing. Well, drummers constantly use computer click tracks to control their timing, and if the drummer gets out of sync with the track or loses timing, it can be fixed in the computer. The second thing is retune your vocals into something weird and soulless. Auto-tune is what made Taylor Swift famous, but for auto-tune there would be no Taylor Swift. She has no clue how to sing on pitch.
Auto-tuning kept Cher's career alive.
No question. Repeat the same sections of music over and over and over again. Well, that's what sampling's all about. And then whenever you go and do a MIDI loop and play a background song, then you get the same soulless music over and over and over and over again. And finally, kill your dynamics, and that is that it provides compression and limiting because of all of the digital plugins that are available. If you go listen to modern music that has no range dynamics to the music, then that's exactly what they're doing in the computer, is killing the dynamics. Bottom line, he was wrong 5 out of 5 times. Remember that next time you read predictions.
I mean, we were talking about the fact that Steve Gibson back in like 84 or 85 also he used to be a regular writer in Computer Shopper, and I've got it somewhere here, and he said that we reached the end of the line with the speed with 33 megahertz 386, or maybe it was a 40. No, it was a 386. Said we reached the end. That's it. There's no way to get more speed from a chip. I mean, it's hindsight is 2020.
Are you saying that there are faster machines than 33 megahertz?
No, who am I to contradict Steve Gibson?
No, I mean, I got to go out and get one. I didn't realize. They also said we'd all have flying cars by now.
Yeah, they said that we will have them, right? I don't think we have them. I mean,
I
fact
have
that
one.
there's...
At least that's what the state trooper said when he pulled me over.
Oh, wait.
Okay. That's good.
Did you know, a point of trivia, if you're driving at 65 miles an hour on the highway, that your car, some wheels are actually leaving the ground for a second or for some period of time as you drive along?
I have heard that the area became smaller than the size of a pack of cigarettes. I've never heard that you're actually leaving the ground.
Well, I mean, that's why hydroplaning is such an issue at speed, because you can, if you touch the brake at the millisecond that the tire is losing touch with the ground, that creates a skid.
Why is it in California and not in North Carolina?
What?
I thought you said in California. Didn't you say that? Or did I?
No. I was just saying that if you're driving at 65 miles an hour.
Oh, I thought you said if you're driving 65 miles per hour in California.
Well, that might be true. Physics are different out there.
Of course.
Well, that's a fact.
I don't know how they keep the cars on the road in Australia. That's
Gravity?
Gravity, yeah.
Magnets. Big magnets.
Let's see. This week there was an interesting story and then an update to the story. And the first story went that Michelle Catalano was looking for information online about pressure cookers. Her husband, at the same time frame, was Googling backpacks. They were going to go hiking. Wednesday morning, 6 men from a joint terrorism task force showed up at their house to see if they were terrorists, which prompts the question, how did the government know what they were Googling? Isn't that interesting? The update to that was that it's not that the government found out they were Googling something. Apparently her husband was let go where he was working, released. And the boss somehow found out that he was searching for pressure cooker bombs. And it was probably right after the Boston incident. And, you know, a lot of people were doing it, I guess. Want to see, well, what does that mean? And he tipped the authorities to that. And then somehow they found out that maybe she was looking for backpacks. It was not mentioned. But also the first article said that they were really rude, and I mean the authorities. The second one said no, they were very nice. He said that they were very nice, and they told him that 99 out of 100 of these cases it leads to nothing, and not to worry, and so forth. But for a few days there, we were talking about how the government knows what we're Googling. So maybe not so fast.
There's a New York Times article that came out, I believe it came out yesterday, where all the other federal agencies are now clamoring to get their hands on the data that the NSA has compiled.
Of course,
they think it's going to help them with some of their cases and stuff like that. So, you know,
I mean, I really thought that after 9/11, there'll be a lot more. I mean, you would like to think that there's 100% cooperation between agencies when it comes to security, and it turns out no.
Let's remember who we're dealing with.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, that's like the person who testified this past week from I think they were one of the directors of the NSA about some internal emails. And he said, well, we'd like to see that email. And the person said, oh, we have no way of retrieving it.
Right.
And yet it was revealed that they have a program where they can just search on IP address. It's just plug in some variable to search for anything in the database. So if they know your assigned home IP address, they can just, based on that, look up all the traffic, everything about you at, just on a terminal. So clearly they're lying to us.
It's where it suits. And talking about security and such, if you've been in the IT industry for a while, you'll know that Lenovo's ThinkPad brand has a strong reputation with large organizations for quality, dating back to the brand's pre-2005 ownership by IBM. However, all that may be set to change with the news that the defense agencies of key Western governments, such as Australia, the US, Britain, Canada, and New Zealand, have banned Lenovo gear from being used in sensitive areas because of concern that the Chinese vendor has been leaving back doors in its devices for the Chinese government. No evidence has yet been presented to back the claims, but Lenovo remains locked out of sensitive areas of these governments. Is it fear-mongering, or is there some legitimate basis for the ban?
This was rumored a number of years ago, and there's that company called Highway, which is a Chinese company that makes routers.
Yep.
That was revealed that they had built backdoors into their products.
Right. These are the
why
ones.
Would we? Lenovo is partially owned by the Chinese military. Thank you.
Yeah. It's a shame. So, Steve, why aren't you on audio? Did he say something? I didn't read. Somebody see why Steve is not with us live on audio? No?
He's monitoring chat for us.
Oh, okay. Is he moderating it?
He is.
Good.
He says he has bad weather at the moment.
Yeah, just to answer, Puppy's question. Of course, I don't have a Windows 8 phone, but I imagine the UI is the same across all the platforms. What you need to do is find the Add People option to add people, and you'll get a little search bar, and then you want to do a search for Computers 2K Voice, and then click that little magnifying glass, the search thing, and you will find Computers 2K Voice, and then you can add them to your contacts.
She's also said something about she wants to know how to look for us on Skype. Well, you can't get us on Skype. We don't broadcast on Skype. Skype is what we use internally.
Right.
Oh, I assume that they were wanting to call in on the phone.
I don't know.
Now, Apple is in deep doo-doo again, saying former Apple employees say the company requires workers to stand around without pay for up to 30 minutes a day while waiting for manager to search their bags for stolen merchandise.
Where is this?
China? I don't know. I guess it must be. Yeah, I don't think they can do it here.
Can't do that here.
No. But that's, no, I mean, if there is history, check them, but they need to clock after you're done with them. But that's the way it is where people have to have the job. They can't get another job. You do whatever it takes. And if they tell you to stay there for 30 minutes, and then you stay.
Well, they must have a big issue with stolen goods. I guess it's got to be a retail environment or in a factory where
in a
stuff
factory,
is
yeah, I
readily
think
available.
it was something in a factory. I remember something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be there. Yep.
I was watching a show the other day when they were talking about the early days of production gold mining, where the workers, they strip searched them at the end of the work shift to make sure that they weren't hiding gold. They would hide gold flakes in their beards and other unmentionable things to steal gold. It was a big deal. Diamond mining, the same thing. They have people go in, they have to change into a uniform and take the uniform off before they're allowed to leave, and they get searched.
And that's where the phrase gold digger came into being, right?
I guess.
Digging through somebody's beard.
Well, for highly specialized industries like that, if you disclose to people up front, look, we have a very onerous system here. We operate this way. If you take this job, here's what's going to happen.
Right.
If this offends you or you don't feel like you can comply with this requirement, then do not accept this job. After that point, it is what it is. I mean, when you look at gold at $1,300 an ounce, an ounce of gold is not very much. It's bulk-wise. I mean, you could really take quite a bit out of there.
How many families can you feed in developing countries on an ounce of gold?
Well, it's interesting because there is a site called pricedingold.com that says that a loaf of 100 years ago, a loaf of bread for a family cost an ounce of gold for 1 year. Or you could buy a loaf of bread for 1 year for an ounce of gold 100 years ago, and the cost is the same today in gold. 1 ounce of gold will buy a loaf of bread for a family. Now, I don't know how many loaves. I don't know how many people in the family. I don't know anything
right,
about
it's a general.
It's a general comment.
Is that white bread or rye bread?
Yes, all the above.
I read this article here, but I don't understand the basis of it. Was there some controversy about Amazon's warehouses in the news at some time?
Oh, that Obama toured an Amazon.
Yeah,
warehouse.
I know, but the thing is, they said that the gist of the whole article is that he's doing it in an Amazon warehouse, and it sounds like he's praising them for something. Let me read this, and then.
Well, the employees took up $150,000 or a little over that to give as well toward his agenda.
Amnon.
Yes, sir.
It turns out that according to Dr. John, he posted the article here, those searches were taking place in San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Wow.
2 former Apple Inc. employees have accused the iPhone maker in a lawsuit of subjecting hourly store workers to daily searches while they were off the clock, arguing they should be compensated. The screenings or bag searches, designed to discourage theft, are conducted every time sales reps leave the store, including for meal breaks, the plaintiffs alleged in a lawsuit. They are seeking unpaid wages, overtime compensation, and other penalties related to what they say is a customary practice across Apple's U.S. showrooms. The 2 plaintiffs said they worked for Apple over a number of years, from California to Georgia and Florida. Well, I've been in an Apple store, and I suspect a lot of their employees go there for the strip search. That's why they take the job.
Oh,
these guys are complaining about. I mean, it's like a relationship.
Now.
Mike.
You know, there was this country music star who had been married a couple of times and divorced and had real nasty divorces. And someone asked him if he was going to get married again. I believe it was Willie Nelson. He said, "No, I'm just going to find a woman who hates my guts and buy her a house."
Right.
I thought he said he was going to go work in an Apple store.
Well,
I thought you were going to say he was going to go work for the TSA so he could grope at people.
well, I mean, that's the thing.
Oh,
But now
gee.
apparently got Apple competing with TSA, and anyway.
This morning there was a story on the news that TSA is stealing out of bags that they are checking.
No kidding.
Did you see that the one congressional investigator asked the TSA head, "Are you still advertising for TSA jobs on pizza boxes and bus station signs?" So, yeah, it's unfortunately it was maybe put in place for the right reasons, but now it's become just a very strange place.
There are companies that require their employees to actually change clothes, strip down to their solid nudity, and put on clothes to work in certain factories. I mean, I can't remember exactly which industries those are right now, but I'm thinking things like in the nuclear industry and things of that nature.
Oh yeah, because they can't risk having contamination go out of the building.
And so, and I think they even walk through Geiger counters and things like that in their nudity. But if they tell you that up front and you accept it, that's fine. But I don't know, things start out with best intentions and end up going the other way. And it's funny because Arnie just came in. He says gold mine workers. We were just talking about gold workers before you popped in, Arnie. So it's interesting that they would do that.
Is nudity legalese for naked?
Please don't use that kind of language on this show, Bruce. This is a family show. That's naked anyway.
Oh, naked. I'm sorry.
Birthday suit. Let's use that term. That's much friendlier.
If you're a liberal in another country, some reformers travel a harder road than others. The Seattle Times reports the founder of a liberal-minded website in Saudi Arabia has been sentenced to 7 years in prison and 600 lashes after angering Islamic authorities in the ultra-conservative kingdom. Raif Badawi, through his website known as Free Saudi Liberals, had urged Saudis to share opinions about the role of religion in the country, which follows a strict form of Islam that includes harsh punishments for challenging customs. A judge in the Red Sea port of Jeddah imposed the sentence but dropped charges of apostasy, which could have brought a death sentence. The Al Watan newspaper reported. Badawi has been held since June 2012. More details are available at the BBC, which informs that the judge ordered that the 600 lashes be administered 150 at a time. The lashes could be spread out, but in Sharia, this is a sign that the judge wants to insult him. Yeah, by the time it heals, that's when you do the next one. So,
Well, that stinks.
the what?
That stinks.
Well,
It could also be that they don't want him to die from it. They want to make sure that he stays alive to get more. They give it to him all at once, it might kill him. But it's wrong to criticize them. After all,
of course.
Anyway, those lashes, those are, I won't say it, employee benefit at certain computer stores.
So, Amnon, if I was to drop momentarily to reload XSplit, would your screen go haywire?
That's okay. You can do it.
All right, so I'll just quickly install, because I'm trying to install XSplit that says you have to shut down Skype in order to proceed. So
all right, that's
I'm
fine.
going to do that, and I'll rejoin.
That's all right. We'll do it. Bruce and I will keep talking, and we will display. We can display this.
All right, I will be right.
And while you're out, we'll fix it now.
I'm going on a brief hiatus.
Go ahead, because I need to drop you from the group so you can reconnect.
Okay. All right.
So go ahead and disconnect from Skype and let me drop it from the group. Okay?
Please do not attempt to adjust your set.
Yeah,
the logo you're
don't
seeing
adjust.
is on
I mean,
purpose.
this is everything is going to be fine. Not to worry.
We're still here.
This is only a test.
Chill.
And so what's going on, Bruce?
Well, one of the interesting things that had happened, I saw a post on Google Plus where Moritz, who's the community manager for the Google Plus community, and he's currently working. He's German, but he's working in the Google headquarters in Dublin, Ireland. Posted that Google and YouTube had changed the requirements for people to get YouTube Live.
Right.
And you used to have 1,000 subscribers in order to get YouTube Live, and they lowered the bar down to 100.
Right.
I have 640 subscribers, and really I didn't have any particular strategy for getting the number that I had. I just happened to have a particular live capture that I captured of a very popular speech that has gotten just thousands and thousands of views and caused a number of people to subscribe to my channel. So the instructions are there. There's on the Google blog. You go to your video manager, and there's an option to enable. And they're rolling this out over the next couple of weeks. And I clicked enable it, and within 50 minutes I was approved. It was pending for 50 minutes. And now I can stream live to Google. It's kind of interesting, though, and I know you'll find this interesting. When you're streaming to Bamboozer, whether you're using XSplit or VidBlaster or Wirecast or whatever encoder you're using, there's an XML file,
right.
And within that XML file, there are two important things that you have to set up the channel. One is the RMTP server, and the other is the name of your stream, and it's a combination of letters and numbers and so forth. When I'm streaming to Bamboozer, the stream name and the RMTP server, RTMP, are identical. They're the same no matter how many broadcasts I do. But on YouTube Live, each time you create an event to stream to YouTube Live, the server remains the same, but the stream name is different, and so you have to copy and paste that into your broadcast channel that you're setting up to send to YouTube. I also discovered that I haven't had any success streaming 640 by 360, but I've had a great success streaming resolution at 854 by 480, which is a 480p stream to YouTube Live. But I've tested with it, and it works fine. One mistake I made, though, during one of my tests, I had a Pandora channel playing in the background. It was an instrumental song, no words on it, but YouTube sent me an email saying, wait, the name of that song is blah, 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 and it was recorded by blah, 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 and do you want to dispute this or acknowledge it? And I acknowledged it. Yeah, I'm sorry. So, but so, like somebody was saying in the forum for internet broadcasting on Facebook, I believe it was Andrew who said this, that if you have any sponsors for a show, you violate their terms of service.
Right.
So, if you're streaming live to YouTube, using YouTube Live, you're evidently not supposed to be able to. But it's funny because you can insert ads. I don't know why you couldn't have a sponsor, but anyway, I think it's cool. I've played around with it. I don't know what the use case is going to be for me, or whether it would be something good for a show like this.
I don't think it's going to be good, because unless they change something drastically. A couple of weeks ago, I was watching Dan McDermott's show, and I couldn't. I mean, after a few minutes, I couldn't take it anymore.
Right.
It was.
But he was using Hangout on Air.
That which are terrible.
Yeah. So, but you could do this show that you're doing right now, doing the same screen caps that you're doing right now in VidBlaster, and sending it live to YouTube. And then, of course, you would not only have it live, but you would have it recorded. It also has a DVR function where people can pause and go back and forward. So anyway, it has some interesting opportunities. I'm just not certain what the use case is.
It was Hangout.
Plus capturing or using Hangout on Air for that screen switching is glitchy as all get out. It doesn't switch clean, and if somebody makes any kind of noise whatsoever, it goes back to that person who sneezed or bumped into their desk or something else like that. But
the syncing, the audio sync it was, forget it. It was like a long time.
Yeah. So let me know if you guys ever want to do a test. I mean, you guys have YouTube channels. You've probably got over 100 subscribers. You could.
I don't know. I need to go and look on the Nissan Communications. But anyway, anybody that's listening, if you go to YouTube and subscribe to Nissan Communications,
I'm going to do it right now.
then it'll be another CDN to use. But I wonder if that means that at the beginning we cannot say today's show is being brought to you by. See?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you're able to monetize it. Doesn't aren't Twit's episodes on YouTube, and don't they say brought to you by?
I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Even if they are, though, they have special deals. They're so big, they've got special deals with all these companies. I would not use them as a model.
I mean, what? So what do they call sponsors? Well, I mean, what? That's the only thing you can do is either put a video from a sponsor or an ad within the video, which I don't think anybody in his right mind is going to do for a talk show. Or you can just mention the beginning, middle, and whatever that it's sponsored by.
I don't think a mid-roll ad is necessarily a deal breaker in a show, so long as it is placed by the show itself in the appropriate position and the advertising is relevant to the content.
You're right. You're absolutely right. If we do it, then it's okay because we can.
Well, like Andrew, when Andrew
talking.
does his advertising for and the free for all or one of those programs that he runs, and halfway through he may do an ad for GoDaddy or Audible.com. Well, these are ads that are are placed where he wants them. They're relevant to his content, and by having that, he's able to continue to bring quality content free to the user. I mean, you have to pay Netflix and these others to get content, so I mean, somebody's got to pay the bills somehow.
Absolutely. No,
I can't find your channel on YouTube. I'm searching under Nissan Communication, and I can't find it.
Interesting.
Maybe they took it down.
Is it 2 words? It can't be 2 words.
Oh yeah, sure.
So Amnon, I checked my motor capacitor. It is open. Both sections are open.
Well,
So it should go. When you check it, it should be open in one direction. If it shouldn't be open in both directions, depending on how you apply the voltage to it. Right?
Well, you test a capacitor with an ohm meter is you discharge the capacitor, then you check the resistance, and what you will see is a charge. It immediately starts out at 0 ohms and then charges to open loop.
Yep.
This one doesn't budge, even at 2 megohms.
If you go to your channel, Amnon, you might want to put in the chat what the name is so that we can find it.
I just put Nissan Communications, one word, all lowercase. And then it says, I mean, in YouTube, and it came up and says, did you mean Nissan Space Communications? But yet it shows it as one word, Nissan Communications. It's not coming up for you?
No, I see a lot of stuff about the car, Nissan. I see.
Okay, there it is.
That blaster guy with you on it.
It says youtube.com/user/Nissan Communications, plural. All lowercase, one continuous word, no spaces. youtube.com/user/Nissan Communications.
There it is in chat.
Yeah.
HTTPS may throw something off.
Actually, there's nothing. That's weird. There's nothing in front of it.
Okay, you got 90 subscribers. No. Let's see. How many subscribers do you have?
I don't know. I mean, I went and put the stuff there a couple of months ago and never really. What is that? 3?
It looks. I don't know. It looks like it could be 3.
Next to subscribe, it says 3. So I don't know.
Well, our goal today is to get you to 100.
Yeah, let's try it. Yeah, I mean, to have another CDN that you can fall back on. I mean, there are 2 others that we can go. But I mean, the nice thing about being able to do it to YouTube is, and that's why you don't see the latest episodes on YouTube. To take our show and upload it to YouTube takes hours.
And let me tell you, with this YouTube Live,
it's right.
It works on the same back end as Hangouts on Air. They are being encoded and uploaded all during the show, so that as soon as your show ends, it's there. Within 10 minutes, it's available.
Yeah, that's the thing. In my opinion, that's the upside of doing it, because it's right there.
Now, you would, like in a situation like your page right now, we're on Computers 2K Live, the embed would be different.
Correct.
Each week.
Each week? It's not going to be?
Well, because each broadcast has each broadcast has a different stream name. No, I don't guess it would be.
It should be the
channel.
I don't know. We'll try it and see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But right now, if you look at the source of the live page, you'll see that there is the cast there, and there is Vaughn. They are commented out. But if something happens to Bamboozer, I just jump on the other computer and change the code real quick, and we're back to watch it on Nissan Communications with a different CDN. So that's what
I can tell you the video quality, especially doing a 480p stream, and the audio was really good in the test that I did.
I'm wondering how it's going to be when hundreds and thousands of people are going to start using it. If it'll be
I don't
great.
think it's going to jump to that.
Well,
I think there'll be a surge, but I'm not convinced. I mean, the other services do not appear to be taxed. The Bamboozers, the Ustreams.
Yeah, and the cream always rises to the top. There'll be a
Of
bunch of
course.
pod faders that try it and play around with it.
Yep.
And,
Exactly.
yeah.
morning, Nick.
Good morning. Speaking of pot faders,
Speaking of pod faders,
I know. Look at I'm right on cue too.
aren't we lucky?
Nick, what do you think about YouTube Live and the easier access for most of us now?
It's just like everything else. Like I don't know how long you guys have been using YouTube, but back in 2007, 2008 with YouTube, it was a big deal if you were a partner. Then they started giving it to everybody. Then a few months ago, it was a big deal if you had YouTube not live. Now they're giving it to everybody, so it's just another useless service.
Well,
That's
not
just
quite
my
everybody. You do have to have 100 subscribers.
You could buy 100 subscribers and get it. I mean, that's what people are doing
They're
now.
going to open it up to everyone, apparently. But I think it's pretty smart the way they roll it out. They start out, you got to have 1,000, and they know with whom they're dealing, and then
Right.
they roll it to 100.
And you're beginning to see a bigger picture of the whole Google sphere, with Hangouts and Plus and YouTube and everything.
And the thing is, it's like beta testing it for them, and they're dealing with serious broadcasters.
Who understand the issues.
Yeah, and if it works for them, then it's going to work for the lower tier, so to speak.
Yeah. By the way,
It's,
there's an excellent video. I believe it's about 24 minutes long, all about YouTube Live broadcasting. And they cover a lot of really good basic stuff that people should know about encoders, about lighting, a lot of really good practical things. It gets a little deep, but it's excellent. And I'll see if I can't find that and put the link in the chat.
I think one of the most appealing and attractive parts about the Google, about the YouTube Live is the pressure it's going to put on the other CDNs.
Oh, yeah.
So that means that theoretically Ustream will not be able to put mid-roll ads every 7 minutes or whatever they're ultimately going to do.
Right. It always the ones who wins at the end are the users.
Hopefully.
It always works like that. It's fine. It's good.
I'm going to post a link in chat to a way that you can embed Hangouts on Air or YouTube Live. So you can embed.
But I don't
to
know
a
that
site.
I would want to do it. We were talking about this. What was happening with Dan McDermott the other week with Stephen Haywood. I couldn't watch it. I mean, forget about it. It was just all
Are you
over the
talking about
place.
one where it was off by like 3 minutes.
What?
Are you talking about the one where it was out of sync by about 3 minutes?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't remember how long it was, but it was long time. And
Yeah.
the video
That was an anomaly, though.
It was. I mean, I was getting a headache, so that's why I was saying I don't know that I was using it. But you're right. But
No, yeah, that was a one-off issue that was going on with the system that night.
yeah, but that's different anyway, because as you corrected me, Bruce, this was Hangout on air versus using them as a CDN. And it was because they were talking on top of each other all the time that it was jump from one to the next, and you couldn't. It just. This is like when somebody is using a camera out there and moving real fast and doesn't know how to pan and all that. It can give you a headache. Over here, it happens automatically.
Automatic headache?
Automatic headache. Yeah, you don't have to pay for it either. It's free.
Sign me up.
So,
Okay, the second link that I just put in is the 24-minute video on live stream basics. And, obviously, gosh, you'd think YouTube would be able to put together a classier presentation, but the content is nonetheless valuable. And so if you want to do anything with live streaming, it'd be worth your while to watch that. And, of course, there are tons of other great videos and tutorials on lighting and, chroma key and audio, but let us remember that audio is not important.
Of course, audio is not important. Mike is not here. It's okay. We can say that.
It's YouTube Geek Week. Just figured that out.
Yeah, right.
It's what?
They changed their logo.
YouTube Geek Week.
Okay.
I don't know what this means.
So I could actually create a stream right now and live stream it. Maybe I'll do that and put the link in so there can be a little test. Well, I can't because I'd have to change the resolution of what I'm sending to you right now. So,
But there's still a major issue with YouTube Live, and that's the comment system. Comment system is still when you have a decent amount of people chatting, the comment system can fall half an hour, 40 minutes behind. It's really bad.
oh really?
Can you not eliminate that comment system?
Well, that's
you
the
can
whole
allow
benefit of
comments
YouTube
or
Live.
you can allow or disallow comments. You can do moderators.
Wait a second, Nick. What do you mean? That's the whole point.
Well, the whole point of YouTube Live is that when you do your live show, you have people commenting live. Then when it becomes a YouTube video, all those chats become actual comments on the video. That's the whole point of YouTube Live. So if you disable it, you lose that feature.
Oh,
right.
so
You're saying it lags. Is this just a situation when you have too many, just a ton of people watching it and it scrolls
Yes.
too fast?
Yes. It falls
Isn't
very
that pretty
far
much the
behind.
same with any other chat client?
No, it doesn't scroll too fast. It doesn't scroll fast enough, and it will fall half an hour behind. People are chatting about stuff that happened 15 minutes ago because and then you have to constantly refresh to get the latest version. Because it's not IRC or any other chat protocol. It's the YouTube comment system automatically updating. It's not ideal.
Yeah, and you'd think that they would be aware of that and hopefully would be working on that if that's the case. I know I've seen it lag when I'm using Comment Tracker within a Hangout on Air. I see the comments not coming good, but I always thought it was something to do with the Comment Tracker API that that Moritz and those guys made when they made the Hangout Toolbox. But you're saying just the comments itself, if you're streaming just to YouTube, they don't post as quickly as they should.
No, they don't. Well, and I mean, what can you really expect? But in the same aspect, you can't compete with the other major CDNs if you don't have a working chat system.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you're saying that all this chat that's going on right now is going to become the comments there?
Yes, that's what that would become. But it wouldn't but when somebody posts Steve said, "Need more coffee," you might see that 5 or 10 minutes later, because if you have a bunch of people chatting, and normally the stuff that I watch, thousands of people are watching, and that just it quickly falls behind. It's kind of annoying.
It's good to see the shack, Spencer.
What's that?
It's good to see your shack.
My chat?
The shack,
shack.
in the background.
Oh, yes, my shack. I'm sorry.
So the new exploit worked.
Yes. It did. No, actually, I moved outside, so I'm out on the front lawn. So that's a live picture.
You mean in the middle of the field? What lawn?
Yeah. Look, there's a deer behind you.
Yep.
Don't scare him away.
Camera switch.
What else been happening? Let's see. Apple chief executive Tim Cook believes that over the arc of time, China is a huge opportunity for his path-breaking company. But time looks to be on the side of rival Samsung Electronics, which has been around far longer and penetrated much deeper into the world's most populous country. Apple this week said its revenue in Greater China, which also includes Hong Kong and Taiwan, slumped 43% to $4.65 billion from the previous quarter. That was also 14% lower from the year ago quarter. Sales were weighted down by a sharp drop in revenue from Hong Kong, it's not totally clear why that occurred. What? Oh. Good, Spence.
Sorry, I couldn't
and
help myself.
Do you have chat enabled on your Bamboozer channel?
No.
Okay, because it's 57 live viewers right now, and I'm wondering if it would ever be interesting to enable chat, and one of us go over there and monitor that chat as well, and try to drive them over here. Or we could do it right now. If you want to be in the real chat, go to computers2knowcom/live.php, and you can be part of the in-crowd.
Right. You can join us at computers2knnow.com or nissancommunications.com, either or. So it's not totally clear why it occurred, the fact that they dropped, Hong Kong dropped. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, boys and girls.
Cook said on a conference call with analysts, neither is totally clear what Apple's strategy is to deal with Samsung, not to mention a host of smaller, nimble Chinese challengers. So Apple is seeing a little bit of a slump there in China. What's going on, Steve?
Trying to keep dry. It's been raining rather a lot over here.
Why are you late an hour?
We've had some bad weather, thunderstorms on and off, and I didn't really want to take a chance of connecting and think, oh, darn it, I've got to disconnect again.
Yeah, makes sense.
Unacceptable.
There was something on in England that I wanted to bring. The High Court, England's highest civil court, has temporarily banned the publication of a scientific paper that would reveal the details of a zero-day vulnerability in vehicles' immobilizers and, crucially, give details on how to crack the system. Motor manufacturers argued that revealing the details of the crack would allow criminals to steal cars. Could this presage the courts getting involved in what gets posted on your local Bugzilla? It certainly means that software giants who dislike security researchers publishing the full facts of vulnerabilities might want to consider a full legal route. So apparently there's a crack that they found, and if a court blocked publishing it, so criminals could not use, which in a way it's good, but I guess it's what it can lead to that they are worried about, right?
Yeah, it's the Volkswagen Group, isn't it?
I don't know.
Lamborghini and whatever. Yeah, but I read about it as well. It's the Volkswagen Group. In my view, it's a little bit like the Streisand effect. I don't know if anyone's heard of that, but it's basically if you report on something, then it makes it visible, or people get to know about it through various news sites, and then it's talked about, and the more it's talked about, the more it's reported on, and it like escalates. So rather than publicise the fact that it's bad and they've had to go to court and get it blocked and everything else, which is then talked about and reported on, they'd have sooner just shut their mouths and developed a fix for it before it got out into the wild so that everybody knows about it. Because anyone intent on breaking into cars, or at least using that error or that fault or whatever it might be, is now going to be more inclined to search around maybe France, Germany, or the rest of Europe where it isn't blocked to try and find out the vulnerability. So if anything, they've advertised the fact that something is bad. Go for it. Stupid, isn't it? Typical British courts.
Now, speaking of courts and Apple and Samsung and all this stuff, Mike, I want to ask you a question. yesterday, President Obama, his administration, overturned a United States International Trade Commission ban on earlier Apple iPads and iPhones. Is that something that an administration can do, and what are the implications of violating, this kind of patent decision by the International Trade Commission, by administrative fiat? What do you think about that?
Read exactly again what he did, because it's threading the eye of a needle here.
Okay. In a bit of a last-minute reprieve for Apple, the White House has officially overturned a looming ban by the United States International Trade Commission that would have prohibited sales and imports of AT&T version of iPhone 3G, 3GS, and 4, as well as the 3G-friendly iPad, iPad 2 tablets, starting Monday. The move, which was initially suggested as having little chance of happening by pundits and legal experts, represents the first veto of an ITC decision since 1987, and the first one by the administrative branch of government.
Okay, well, 87 would have been Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
And so I suspect that the International Trade Commission is probably, I don't know, it's probably under the executive branch. If it's under the executive branch and the boss says don't do it, you don't do it. Now, is there other recourse? Of course there is. But he did not invalidate a patent. He just told the International Trade Commission how to behave based on what I'm hearing you read now. I mean, there are a whole lot of, without getting political, there are a whole lot of things he's doing by executive fiat that many of them either have not been done or have not before or have not been done regularly. There may even be some question as to whether it's even legal for him to do so, but until it's tested, I mean, he's not going to worry about what's legal.
So you wouldn't suggest there'd be any political motivation for this regarding the administration and Apple?
In all seriousness, I'm not so sure what the political motivation would be there. I'm not perfectly comfortable at saying that it is a purely political thing for him to do that, because when you see how many of these corporations are out of control, how many of these government agencies are out of control, I honestly and sincerely, without sounding like I'm defending him, I don't think we have enough information.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly don't trust what I read in the media about these things. Particularly,
I put two links in there. One is from the PC Mag, and the other is from the Wall Street Journal. Probably a little more.
Yeah, I don't trust these journalists because they're. I mean, it's pitiful.
Mm-hmm.
What they do, and they're underpaid, underqualified, undereducated, undermotivated to go out and get the real truth of the story. They just post and write whatever's most convenient and expedient for them at the time.
Mm. And they do often tend towards link bait.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think they ought to call them reporters because they just report what they hear as opposed to journalists, which gives the impression that they're actually searching and finding out and verifying things. So they're reporters rather than journalists.
Echo chambers, because they just echo what the administration tells them.
Yeah, exactly. Gone are the days where people actually went out, found out about a story, verified it all, confirmed everything, and then published it. Nowadays, it's just, I heard this, so it must be true, and they post it without even so much of a second thought.
Yeah.
I've got a question. I was watching a story this morning about a criminal that, after spending 10 years in prison, changed his way, and now he's actually a cop. And when they were talking with the police chief, he said, Larry did a complete 360 on this. Isn't that wrong?
Yeah, it's a 180.
Right.
360 would mean he's back at the start, wouldn't it?
Right. That's why I'm saying, wait a second. And you hear a lot of people say that.
Wait, but is this written by a reporter? So for all of those who thought we were being just curmudgeons and exaggerating to make a political point, did we just get an example of what we were referring to? Oh, Mike, don't be so cynical. Everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah, Mike, what's wrong with you?
You?
Fact.
Oh.
I have an interesting story.
Go ahead.
So the UK is supposedly going to be implementing a fine for users that drive with Google Glass.
Yep.
Which I agree with.
I agree with as well, actually. But then how are they going to determine whether they are or not? Because at least if you're holding a phone up to your ear, they can say, well, your hand was to your ear, whether there was a phone in it or not. A good assumption is your hand was up by your ear, so I would imagine that was probably holding a phone. But how are they going to do it with Google Glass? Because you're wearing them anyway. It's not like, I know you were being distracted by Google Glass. Prove it.
Well, there's got to be some kind of RF thing that they could probably shoot it with.
What they'll probably do is that they'll shine a laser or something that will reflect back off the lens and it'll blind that person. Then they'll have an accident. Then they'll have a reason to actually, prosecute them.
Well, see, I object to this whole thing. I think that's inappropriate.
What's inappropriate?
The ban.
You don't live in New York.
Can see.
Here's the thing. Here's why I object to it.
Go ahead.
The government is doing these things piece by piece. They just need to get together and give us a list of what we really are allowed to do. And that way we don't have to keep guessing whether we can have cell phones hands-free. I'm being facetious, of course.
But that's the thing as well, isn't it? They produce these new laws and they say that this is not covered and you're not allowed to do this, that and the other. But the actual specifics of it is all hidden away and it's all secret. Oh, we couldn't release that information. Otherwise, you'd know what you could and couldn't do and we wouldn't be able to prosecute anybody.
And legitimately, the real problem there is the law, as I have said repeatedly, the law is slow to follow technology. Mm-hmm. They had where was it? We had the story here some time ago where some do-good legislative body got together and decided to ban all in-car communications. And so what that meant was the police departments couldn't use their radios in their cars because they didn't know how to write the statute correctly.
We had a similar thing here in the UK with CB radio when they said that you couldn't use a microphone, and there was a big outcry saying, "Well, hang on a minute, the police are using their radios. What's the difference? Taxi drivers are using them. What's the difference?"
It was just poorly drafted.
Yep, they changed it fairly quickly. It's amazing how quickly they can change it when it's to their benefit, isn't it?
As far as the Google Glass, I can see a reason why to ban it. A good reason. If you're driving around and you are recording video, and remember, you have to look in the direction of what you want. This is how you aim the camera. That's a big distraction. And if you suddenly see something on the side of the road that you say, oh yeah, I want it, you keep going like this and you're looking at it now, you're driving this way, and it's very easy to get into an accident. Because when you're talking on the phone, at least your eyes in the back of your mind are still looking at the road, although you can get distracted. But here, you're completely taking your eyes off the road because you're trying to follow that piece of video that you say, oh, I'm gonna record this so I can watch it later. I'm gonna record this, and bam. So I can see that it's not, even with texting, as bad as it is. People that text, I hope, are not taking their eyes off the road for more than just looking at letters, but they do.
Oh, I am not.
I know, but. The thing is, here you take your eyes off the road for long periods of time, potentially, which is somebody who's texting and looking at the phone the whole time does the same thing. Do you remember I remember some cars that had the speedometer and all the other equipment on the gauges were on the dash above.
Heads-up display.
Yeah, and it would display kind of reflected from the windshield. And they said that that's safer because you're looking at
you're looking forward, and it's just there in your peripheral vision.
Right. And it's true. I mean, if you're looking straight and you just have to... I mean, when I drive and I have a GPS with me. I don't put it on the seat or in the middle of the... I stick it somewhere where if I look at it, I'm still seeing the traffic coming. Of course, you just glance at it for a second. But you put it in a position where you're still looking at traffic.
It's very much like a mollycoddled society, isn't it, that they seem to be wanting? It's one step closer to anything that distracts you in the car, whether it's you changing channel on the radio or clicking on a button on one of the electronic devices, anything that takes your attention from the road, even for a split second, it potentially could cause an accident. And they seem to be going to such an extent now that you won't even be able to talk to the passengers because that could cause a distraction or could, cause a shock to you. They may say, "Oh, by the way, Dad, I'm pregnant," and you have a shock in an accident. Well, that could happen any time. They need to have a little bit of common sense in saying, people aren't all stupid. Some of them may be, and fine, we can legislate for them. But the sensible ones, give them a break.
Now, I can and often do go through the drive-thru at McDonald's in the morning and order a number 2 with a medium coffee, 3 creams and 3 equals. And before I've driven 5 miles, I have consumed said sandwich on my way to the airport or wherever else I'm going to. There's a lot of gazing that you do when you drive, and we all know this. I mean, you're looking at your temperature gauge, you're looking at your RPMs, you're looking at your speedometer, you're looking at your radio, you're looking at the road on the right, the road on the left, you're looking in your rear view mirror. You're just all the time scanning around. And so, I mean, I'm not sure how much difference Google Glass is going to become a distraction or whether ultimately it would just become one other thing that you're constantly scanning around. But when it comes to texting, I just say if you have an Android device, I use a program called Hands-Free Texting. And I don't have it turned on right now, but if I were to check that checkbox at the top that says Read Text, and I put this in my iAudi car mount in my car, and if somebody sends me a text message, it reads it out loud to me. Then it asks me audibly, do you want to respond? How do you want to respond? I don't ever have to touch my phone. I can have an SMS conversation back and forth without ever touching the phone, keeping my eyes on the road. So there are some solutions that people really ought to look at when it comes to texting while driving. And if they're not going to use a hands-free solution like this, they need to pull off the side of the road and take care of it. Or, I've seen some people who, when they're at a red light, might respond to a text, but then the light changes green, and if there's a guy like me behind them, I'm going to use the horn that God created for such purposes as that.
Yeah, sometimes I wish I had a horn on one of those scissor arms and be able to bring it forward, put it right to the side of the driver, and it's a train horn.
Oh, you can do that, M9. You can actually buy an air horn like you get on a tractor trailer truck.
Yeah.
Run it up under the front of your car. We get a little portable air tank that builds up enough pressure to blow. And I've seen a guy do that, and I got to tell you, it gets people's attention.
You have a look on YouTube. I think there's a channel there, Train Horns or trainhorns.com or something like that. I think it is. And you get like the smallest, compact, tiniest little car, one of these smart cars. And they've got this huge train horn, and they sort of sat in the car park, and they blast this horn, and people literally leap 4 feet in the air and turn around and think, where the hell's the truck? And all there is this little smart car there with this massive horn. Funny as hell.
Nick, you were talking about how will they know that you had Google Glass on if you're in the car. There was a story a year or two ago about a fellow out in California who was driving a nice-looking Corvette the same time he was texting, and while he wasn't paying attention, and he actually ran up under the rear end of a tractor-trailer truck. And the way they know he was texting is that when they found him, his head was in the back of the car, but the phone with the texting on it was still in his hand.
Wow. But I think I'm a little biased for this because unlike you, at least in New York State, you can't talk you can't talk on the phone while you're driving. That's illegal.
Not even with hands-free.
No, you can with hands free, but
Okay.
But see, this is what aggravates me.
Wait. Let him finish.
no, there's nothing to finish. It's just because I think I brought this up to Mike one time when I was talking to him. He told me to call him, and I did, and I was like, "How are you talking to me?" And it's not illegal in North Carolina.
Not at all, not yet. But my complaint is, and my complaint with the whole concept is, somebody show me scientific evidence that hands-free is safer than holding the phone in your hand. Is the distraction the holding of the phone in your hand, or is it the concentration on the conversation instead of concentration on the road? No one has provided any evidence. It's something that some lawmaker decided made sense, and it caught on and has been replicated in multiple jurisdictions. But I'm not convinced that talking hands-free is any better than having the phone in your hand. Sure, it frees up a hand, but I agree with Dr. John that 90% of the distraction is the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, having said that, Mike, did you just say that you should not be allowed to talk on the phone when you're in the car? Well, you know what? A politician that I actually respected made the comment one time that how do you draw the line between what the government should and shouldn't do? And the way you draw the line is that the government is here to protect me from you, not to protect me from me. And considering how dangerous it is, I've told this story before, and I tell it not for comedic value or for any other reason than to confess what happened to me so that someone will think about it. I was actually driving down the road, and I don't believe in driving and texting, but something came up, and I was just writing yes or something. I was answering a text. Unbeknownst to me, I knew I was on this little country road, but unbeknownst to me, my car had started drifting over to the right a tiny bit. When I did that and looked up and saw that I was drifting in that direction, I immediately grabbed the wheel, pulled it back to the left to stay on the road, and said, whew, I just missed a mailbox. Boy, that was lucky. And then instantly after that, I saw that there was a guy on the riding lawnmower just past the mailbox. Had I hit the mailbox, I would have hit the guy on the riding lawnmower, and God knows what would have happened. And since then, I have not texted and driven. I got a get out of jail free card, and I have taken it.
Yeah, that's when something like this happens. It really teaches you.
It brings things into perspective.
Yes,
like instantly, very quickly.
It's much better than if a cop stopped you for doing it and gave you a ticket.
Well, keep in mind that if you kill someone while you're driving and texting, God forbid that you're gonna be charged with a crime. You're going to be charged at least with manslaughter.
Yeah.
Well, you got the driver of that Spanish high-speed train who was on the phone, when he rounded the corner at 111 miles per hour and killed over almost 80 people.
And he was on the phone with the control folks who know he's not supposed to be on the phone.
Right.
Andrew says Leo isn't on YouTube Live.
But his videos are on YouTube. I wonder what's the difference.
Well, he's got partnerships with I don't YouTube Live. I don't think YouTube Live is made for 24/7. It's made for special events, not for live 24/7. There's no reason to use YouTube Live for 24/7.
Who would do that? And
call in Andrew.
The whole point with YouTube Live is if you're subscribed to a channel and they do a live event, it shows up in your subscription box. When you go to YouTube and you can say, "Oh, look at Andrew's doing a show live right now." But if he does 24/7, it's never going to be in my subscription box except when he starts it. Which, if he started it 3 days ago, it's not going to be there anymore.
Hey, Andrew.
Good morning.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Waiting for you.
Waiting for me? Holy cow! I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's wrong?
It's
Morning, Andy.
10:22.
What's the matter with you getting up so late?
I made it. I told you I had a big problem yesterday.
Yeah, right.
And that was new or unusual in what way?
No, I went out. I got my wife coffee and breakfast.
Coffee.
Good for you.
I'm being a good husband today.
What'd you do?
I feel guilty. She wanted to go out to brunch, but I'm gonna have to sit at home and fiddle around with Wirecast because I'm no longer gonna use VidBlaster.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Nick, I need your help.
That's fine. I'll be around all day.
So, Bruce, your question about YouTube Live with YouTube because we were a partner. GFQ was a partner with YouTube, and we got kicked out of the partner program because this a couple of years ago because we had ads on our videos, even though we did not opt in for the for ads that they put on to do like the revenue whatever that they're doing. They still kicked us out because we had ads. Leo's not a YouTube partner. With YouTube Live, you cannot opt out of ads.
Yeah, they're in there
So-
permanently.
Yeah, so like they're there, the ads are there. So in their terms of service, it says that you cannot have third-party ads also because they're injecting ads.
Okay, but so what does it mean on this button in your control panel to insert ads? Are you inserting their ads, or can you not insert your own ad panel?
I believe it's their ads.
No, so what? Actually, that's actually mostly used for gaming because so for example, if you're playing a game that has a lobby, so you play the match, then you sit in the lobby for 30 seconds. People click that insert ad button, so while they're not doing anything, an advertisement plays for everybody that's watching. That's what that's for.
A YouTube ad.
Yeah, it's a YouTube ad. It's just like a pre-roll that you would see.
Okay.
See,
A lot
that's
of
why I've
So,
been.
so what do you think might be the use case scenario then for this YouTube Live now that's just been made available to exponentially more numbers of people?
Oh, it's video bloggers that want to do a live, whatever with their audience. Google Hangouts, obviously, gaming,
Yeah, gaming's huge.
or any kind of event, sporting event, live event. The talking head format is not really what they're looking for. Or if you have a podcast, you do a podcast and you just don't have ads, which is 99% of the people doing a podcast. So
Can you? I mean, if we did ours, can you say in the beginning, today's show is being brought to you by such and such and such?
Yeah, that's not an ad.
Like you're doing the VidBlaster guy. No, Nick, you can't do live reads.
I wouldn't consider that a live read. Saying something is brought to you by. You're not saying this show's sponsored by.
It's the same thing, though.
Same thing. I mean, the odd 99% chance they're not going to go after you for the VidBlaster guy. But if you're doing, Squarespace ad or you're doing a GoToMeeting ad.
I think that's how you do it too. I mean, if you ever watch Leo's show, his ads are like 7 minutes apiece. But I think if you just did a
Listen, this is the problem with YouTube, and this is why I'm not on there. Their terms of service are extremely vague.
you know how to get out of that though.
I actually started talking to someone from YouTube. I got gave me somebody's number that works in their live department, and I started asking them. We do 24/7 content. I don't want to break the terms of service because I don't want to lose this if the day comes where they change it because you can't go back in. Once you lose it, once they kick you out of a program, you're done. You're toast. So they couldn't even clarify what the terms of service means when they say you cannot put a third-party ad. So at the end of the day, I found out they go, well, it's for any kind of ad. You cannot have any kind of ad on your video that is not a YouTube ad because we're giving away the service for free. But but in all honesty, if you look at JTV, Ustream, or any of the other services, you cannot have your own ad. You're not supposed to be doing live reads.
No, but they won't go after you for it.
No, they won't go after you for it. But
What about product placement? Like a Coke
I believe
can.
that's fine. I think that's
yes.
okay. That's okay. At the end of the day, you know what they care about? They have a Ford ad in their pre-roll, and you're doing a Chevy ad during your live read. That's what they really care about.
Yeah.
Enjoy a cup of coffee from the Tech and Coffee Boys.
But
Yeah, 2
Leo's
sugars in mine, please.
I haven't seen anybody on there actually.
I don't think it's a benefit to podcasters. They do 24/7.
No, they you can't do 24/7 on there. The most that you can stream on there is about 36 hours.
Yeah, it's a waste. The only thing that's really important is if Andrew had a really big guest on his show, that would be like when to use YouTube Live. But other than that, it's like uploading a YouTube video.
So when are you going to invite me on your show, Andrew, so you can do a YouTube Live?
No. Well, you're a big star. You're a Google star.
Oh.
It's also setting up the live channel is extremely convoluted. Also, you have to set the date. You got to do this. You got to do that, and you cannot set your own bit rate. So you have to follow their guidelines. So they want, if you're doing 720, you have to do, I think, 4 megabits a second up of bandwidth for 720 when everybody's doing about a meg and a half.
Why is that?
Oh, because they're crazy.
They don't understand how
Because
video
you're
works.
sending them 4 megabits a second for HD, and then what they're doing transcoding. So they're taking that, and then they're doing 2 and 1 and whatever. If you want to do 360p, you have to send them about a meg and a half.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so then are they then encoding 3 different speeds for you
They are.
from what you're sending? So that's probably why you have to have what they're requiring.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be great if there was a way you could opt out and say, no, I just want to do 1 speed and 1 speed only. Because I ran into that problem when I was testing yesterday. I couldn't. I had trouble getting a 640 by 360 stream to work. In fact, I was not able to do it. But as soon as I went to a 480p, using let's see, the resolution of 854 by 480, I had no problem, and they gave me the stream health as good. So anyway, yeah, it's kind of convoluted, and when you're using YouTube Live, the stream name changes for each broadcast, while the RTMP server remains the same, but the stream name changes.
Yeah. So, I mean, they still have a long way to go. And, Daily Motion is also doing live streaming now. And they are almost identical as far as how complicated it is compared to YouTube. I mean, they're both doing, like, very similar things.
That's not good, though.
No.
So it looks like there's a branded Wirecast for YouTube now, like there is for Ustream.
There's been one for a while, yeah. I'm pretty sure all YouTube partners get it. Or like all major partners that are actual partners, not just the partner term.
Partnership.
Yeah, well, they call it everybody when you create a channel. It's a partnership now.
Collusion.
It's interesting how they get the video aspect, the on-demand video aspect. They've gotten that, but they can't figure out the live.
Yeah.
All right, so never mind.
I mean, you could be on the YouTube Live, Amnon. That'll work for you.
No, I mean, we would. I see that nobody actually subscribed. We're still sitting there at 3. It seems like. So,
Yeah. That's the other benefit for it is if you've got a large subscriber base on YouTube, instead of telling your YouTube subscribers or your hope that they subscribe to you on Twitter or on Facebook, and they get your link to, let's say, Justin TV or Ustream, now you do it right on YouTube and it shows right up in their subscription box.
Also, guys, I don't know if you saw, but on-air Hangouts are now in HD.
Oh, that's good.
Was that
But
the
still has
middle
the
mode?
same crappy camera switching and glitchiness.
Yeah, but they have when it settles, it's in HD for the on-air only, not the regular Hangouts.
That's good, though.
Yeah.
Bruce, are you still using Zoom.us?
I use Zoom.us for all video conferencing that I do. And see, if I were doing a show, and I were, of course, you could use Skype. and an encoder, whether it's XSplit or VidBlaster or Wirecast, and instead of capturing, you capture Skype thumbnails, or you can capture the Zoom big screen. If I were going to do a show somewhat like this and didn't have to have this quad view that we have right now, I would do Zoom.us and capture the big window and control by clicking on thumbnails. But even when I'm not controlling it by clicking on thumbnails, the camera switching in Zoom.us is so much cleaner and better. And then I would send that to YouTube Live.
It's nice that there's so much of a selection that you can do now compared to what there was 2 years ago.
Yeah. And listen, you can't beat $10 a month for Zoom Premium. I mean, there's just nothing out there that can touch it for that price.
So long as you can use it.
Right. Well, I use it 3 times a week.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing, is it's a value if you use it. But if you tend to be like me, you go out and subscribe to things and never use it, it's a dead loss.
Mm-hmm.
I think the unfortunate issue with Zoom US is, I think the reason that we're still using Hangouts, Mike, is because the invites.
Well, the invites, that's a good question, Bruce. Do you send out the invites only by email?
I do the invites using Outlook, which creates an event, which just like any other Outlook meeting request, I can send to people. You can also do it using Google Calendar. You send out the emails, and they get an event in their Google Calendar. But not everybody uses Google Calendar. Not everybody uses Outlook. So what I do for these groups that I do, I have corresponding Facebook group pages, and I post the link 30 minutes or so before each event. But I do reoccurring events. So the link for every Zoom conference I do is identical week after week after week.
So that's a benefit.
Yeah,
Big benefit.
it never changes. And Hangouts are more spontaneous. You can say, hey, let's do a Hangout, and you invite people. But if you're doing a spontaneous Zoom thing, you have to have a way of notifying. So, I mean, you can notify people like in a Google Circle or a Facebook group
you
page.
can?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then if that's the case, then I didn't know that you could notify people like that.
Well, I mean, you have to. You don't notify them from within Zoom itself. You just
send it to send it to your circle.
Right. You copy the link and just send it. Say, hey, I'm hanging out.
Yeah. Okay.
Well. And with the gallery view, I mean, you got a nice monitor, and with the gallery view now, instead of having the main speaker in the big box and 4 thumbnails at the top, and then you have to hit the blue arrow to see everybody else's thumbnail, you can go to gallery view, and you see everybody equally sized on one screen. And it's really, really good for video conferences, because unlike with Microsoft Link, you can only see the main speaker and in a big window and yourself in a little thumbnail, but you don't see everybody else. If I'm having a video conference, I want to be able to tell who's multitasking, who's paying attention, and how well am I communicating. Just like if I'm public speaking at a place, I like looking at the audience. I can tell, some feedback.
Makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
Yep.
Mike, what did we decide? What did you decide about Blink?
It's not there yet.
Okay.
It's getting there. What he's asking about is Blink actually came out, a SIP client came out with a new version using the Opus codec. While the audio is very good, when we connected, there were some choppy things going on. The audio would go down, then it would go dead, then it would jump up way high for a second. And so the first testing was not good, and since they are rolling it out, I gave him back my input, and I did what I said I would do, but I wanted to wait a little while and give it another try. There's another option out there available too that Nick and I have tried several times unsuccessfully, called Twelephone, Twelephone. It's telephone with a W for the second letter, Twelephone. That is coming of age, but it's not quite there yet. They're having trouble either getting through routers or firewalls or something. I don't know what. We've not tried it since they've switched over to WebRTC. Ben, it's just a guy developing it at home with some buddies and all, so I don't know how that's going to pan out, but we're giving that a try. There's also a couple of other things we've run into lately, a program called Fideliphone, Fideliphone, Fideliphone.com, that allows you to send very high-quality audio back and forth, including stereo audio at very high bit rates. So data rates, I'm not trying sampling rate, I'm talking bit rate, which people confuse all the time, and it actually is usable to send stereo audio. We may even, at some point, once I get a little more time to play with it, we may, in fact, begin using it to send audio to the radio station for Rick's house. So we'll see. A lot of good things happening out there in terms of audio and video over the internet.
All I'm going to say is hang on tight because Skype 7 is on its way.
Well, let's wait and see.
You know, but Skype at this point in time is the winner. It's where it's at, and more power to them. You know, if they're going to do the work and do the research and develop the product, they deserve the credit.
I've spoken to a couple of people that have been using the new Skype internally.
Wow.
And they are actually very, very surprised how good it sounds.
Do you see what Spence is posting?
No.
I came across this new video conferencing service.
Bofo Video Conferencing. NSA approved for warrantless oversight.
And notice the equipment the guy's using?
Where are you posting this?
It's not posting. It's that's his Skype chat.
on my Skype feed.
I got you.
I can't tell what it is, Spence.
Listen, I'd rather have the
it's a
NSA
typewriter and a television.
I'd rather have the NSA looking through my my Google searches than an employer.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys saw the story, but this employer reported a former employee that was searching rice cooker on his work laptop.
Pressure cooker,
rice cooker, I think some other searches too. He reported him after he got fired from the job, after they let him go. Because he was probably so paranoid he thought he was going to come and blow up his job.
Yeah. Maybe he was. How do you know?
Who knows? He's from Long Island, so he could have been.
Yeah, there you go. By the way, before Kent, and Alan may already be gone, but they were talking about how do you get rid of all these invitations from Google Plus, and Bruce would probably be the expert. But my understanding is that for anyone to send you an invitation, you have to be in there. They have to be in your circles.
Yeah. So if you don't want it, don't be in the circle.
Just take people out of your circles.
Right.
Now, Nick, yesterday and I think the day before, I did get an invitation, or maybe 2 days before. It says that the invitation and it was from you, from Nick, Radar Gaming, with the big logo and all that. It was an email. It wasn't like.
Yeah. So lately.
So how did that work?
I've been inviting people personally. Like inside of Google Plus, I've been inviting people's names, not circles.
Oh, so
that seems to be working a lot better. Yeah, obviously it's hard to invite 20 people to a hangout, but
yeah,
it's at least people are getting the invite so they know what's going on.
Interesting.
Yeah, I looked a number of times throughout the day yesterday to see if any of you guys were hanging out. I didn't see any activity.
Was there one yesterday? I'm not sure. Yeah, there was one last night. Oh, all day? I wasn't around all day. So.
Andrew was lonely.
What?
It really is frustrating when you're in the UK, or imagine other people from Europe as well. Because invariably, when people are starting to come online from the US and North America, it's, over here, it's like bedtime. And then if you do get up and you look at your list, it's like, well, 3 people invited me to 3 different things and I was fast asleep. Darn it.
No, lucky.
No, it's, well, I don't know. I think when the colder weather comes, I'll probably be on a little bit more later in the night.
In some cases, it's luck.
Yeah.
Well, in order to, just to introduce the specials today, I wanted to bring up a new product that showed up. I think it's been announced for a while, but they started shipping it and selling it. Has anybody played with the Leap motion controller?
Never heard of it.
No, I know Stan Haywood has it.
I haven't. I've seen. I've looked into it and I'm interested in it, but yeah, it does look very, very interesting. Certainly for that price.
Yeah, it's $79 US. Here's the. They have a short video on their site just showing what it does.
Now that it's been released,
it's a tiny little controller. It looks like I don't know, half a size, maybe smaller than half a size of a pack of cigarettes. Now, some of the reviews I read, some said it was, this is the future of computing. Others said it's not that great, but they say it's higher resolution than Kinect. But it takes some getting used to using it. So, but
do you guys ever wonder what computing is going to be like in 50 years? I mean, I have such a difficult time grasping what it could possibly turn into because the technology moves so quickly now.
Well, let me see. What is computing going to be like when I'm 119?
Yeah.
Well, I'll still be alive.
Let me think about it.
It'll all be wireless. Yeah. It'll all be linked to our synapses, and we won't even. We'll just be thinking it. It'll do it. Andrew,
you may have a chance to see it.
I'll be alive. Well, not at the rate that I'm going. I'll probably get it.
Yeah, we'll probably all outlive you.
Yeah.
Especially if you do things like you did last night. Stop it.
I know. I have a problem. I can't.
Now, Andrew, let me ask you this: if we were doing this on YouTube Live and Spencer played that little video clip, would there be an issue with that?
This is the thing. Technically, there shouldn't be because it's fair use. But
right.
YouTube's concept of fair use is a robot that's just sifting through it.
Yeah, I
don't know if they're injecting that the same kind of copyright stuff for live content.
The problem with fair use and Google's, as you say, interpretation or whatever is an awful lot of it is done automatically now. It's all like what's that thing? It's like it's got its own unique identifier, and as soon as it spots that partial unique identifier, that's it. As far as it's concerned, it's violated and it's disabled. Nobody actually looks at it and touches it anymore. It's all done by an algorithm that says, no, that matches something I've already got in the database, so it must be copyrighted or.
So let me guys tell you this story because I just finished this issue with Google, and this was going on for about about 2 years now. When Siri came out, I made a video like testing, things, obscene things you could ask Siri and it'll find it. Like you could ask Siri to find you an escort and it'll find you one. You could ask Siri, find me drugs and it'll send you to a rehab center. So I did this video and I recorded it and I put it on YouTube. A lot of websites picked up the video and they distributed. A lot of other ones did like their own like weekly news and tech, and they tagged my video. So they demoed my video. It goes, YouTube user Andrew Zarian made this funny video, and they put my video in their video. And that's fine. They gave me credits in the thing, this Andrew Zarian. I got recently, this was 2 years ago, I got a takedown notice on YouTube for copyright for playing someone else's video. And it turns out it was my video that someone else was claiming ownership over. And
the
YouTube
world's
told me
gone mad.
They said that they would be removing my video. I have to remove the video, and I appealed it. And I said, "This is my video. They're using my video." It took about 6 months for them to realize that this is my video and not theirs.
You look how many takedown requests Google get in a day. I mean, you look on their transparency report thing that they put up. I mean, you've got big companies like Microsoft actually telling Google to take down Microsoft.com and HBO to take down HBO.com because they're infringing. It's all gone mad. I think fair play to Google actually that they do go through all the hundreds of thousands that they get on a daily basis and do check and catch a huge number of ones that have been wrongly claimed. The biggest problem, I think, is that there's no accountability. If you've made an improper claim, there should be some penalty for that, but there isn't any. It's like, on fair belief or whatever it's called. There ought to be some kind of penalty to say, well, if you keep doing this, then you won't be able to claim any takedowns or whatever for a period of 24 hours or something. That would soon get them to start looking at the ones that they are putting forward and thinking, what we need to actually start checking these, because we're, it's doing us an injustice or an inservice, if you like, that we're actually knocking our own sites off. Because if Google did just blanketly block everything that they were asked to block, there would be no sites working on the net at all. There needs to be more accountability. Yeah. They need to be, you've done this, so, and you've continually done it wrong. Unless you improve, then we're not going to take any notice of you.
Well, if you look at the greater scope of ill-conceived or wrong searches and seizures and arrests and investigations, it's no different. You get people, we came and raided the house, but we got the address wrong. So we had this old lady on the floor with a gun to her head while we searched her pantry for drugs. Oh, sorry, wrong address. Didn't mean it. Yeah. Thanks, bye.
Oops, sorry, doesn't quite cut it, does it?
Yeah, it's the same attitude. It's like, we were just trying to do our job, and there's no oversight, and we hope that your bruised ribs get better. Goodbye.
Spence, are you going to leave early? Is that what you want to do? This? So you're going to do the specials now?
Yeah, I'm going to do the specials. I have to leave at 11, so I have an appointment to demolish a bathroom.
Yeah. Well,
I'm taking volunteers if anybody wants to show up.
If I was closer, I would drop around and give you a hand.
But I put my compressor in the back of my wife's SUV yesterday, so we are going to have mechanical assistance as we tear it apart.
All right, so go ahead.
Okay.
All right, before you do, let me run. I have to go.
All right, Andrew. We'll talk to you later, man.
Hey, Andrew, have a good one. Take it easy.
You too. See you guys.
Have a good week.
Bye.
All right, starting with staples. We've got an Acer 11.6-inch AMD H4 touchscreen laptop, 4 gig of memory, 500 gig hard drive for $379. That's $100 off. The wireless HP Envy 4000 printer scanner copier. This is $79, $20 off. A wireless Epson Expression all-in-one printer scanner copier. Well, they call it the small-in-one because it's a small form factor. $69.99, save $30. Good for the dorm room. All Epson scanners are on sale. Samsung wireless mono laser with two-sided duplex printing for $99.99, save $60. Western Digital portable USB hard drive, 1 terabyte for $69.99, save $20. Now, I urge people who are sending kids off to school, off to college, get them some kind of a backup drive. I mean, these drives now have really good software, so if you leave it plugged in, it will continuously back up pretty much automatically. I have a Western Digital MyBook that works really well, but these prices can't be beat. A 1 terabyte portable drive is $69.99, save $20. 2 terabyte portable drive for $129.99, save $20. And to repeat something we said on the show many times before is that, yes, flash drives are a great convenience, but should not be relied upon for long-term backup. Hard drive is typically better, or at least more than one backup. So instill that in the mind of your student. Dell 20-inch all-in-one touchscreen computer, $499.99, save $130. They've got touchscreen laptops starting at $429, and with that, these are select. I think there's 4 different models they're offering, and it comes with 4 years of free Office 360 University. So it might be a good option for, instead of buying Office Home and Student Edition, it may offer more flexibility, but that's available. This is all at Staples. At Office Depot, They've got a Lenovo laptop IdeaPad combo. It's a 15.6-inch laptop and a 7-inch IdeaPad for $379.98. They've got Western Digital 3 terabyte cloud drive for $149.99, a save 30. The 2 terabyte version is $129.99, save 20. They have a Samsung 23.6-inch LED monitor for $149.99. That's $50 off the regular price. Lenovo i5 desktop. This is a standalone. This does not include a monitor. 8 gig of memory, 2 terabytes of disk, $499.99, save $150. Wireless HP Mono LaserJet Pro, $99, save $60. Brother MFC J870 wireless all-in-one printer scanner fax copier. It's an inkjet with two-sided copying for $99.99, save $50. And they've got the 8.1-inch Acer Iconia 32 gig Windows 8 tablet for $299, save $80. That's at Office Depot. At Office Max, they've got Brother MFC J430. This is their entry-level inkjet printer. It's a wireless printer, $49.99, save $50. It's half off. They've got the 15.6-inch HP AMD E1 1500. This is the new version of what was the E1 1200. It's a dual-core processor. It's an entry-level processor, but it's a decent machine. I have the E1 1200 HP, and this is the updated version. They've added 80 megahertz to the processor speed and 29 megahertz to the GPU. It's really a decent machine as an entry-level machine for just having one next to the couch for email, browsing, whatever. So that's $279.99. That's $100 off. HP Slate, 7-inch, 8 gig Android tablet for $139.99, save $30. They've got the Logitech K400 long-range wireless keyboard touchpad. So if you have a requirement for a keypad or a keyboard and mouse for a entertainment system, and you don't want to have a separate mouse, you want to have a keyboard that has a built-in touchpad, this is a really good alternative. Long-range wireless. It's only $29.99, save $10. AOC 20-inch LED monitor for $89.99, save $20. HP 23-inch LED monitor for $149.99, save $50. And this is a popular keyboard from Logitech that I recommend to people all the time. Logitech M320 keyboard mouse combo, $29.99, save $10. I have that on my desktop, and several people I've recommended get this one. It's relatively compact. It's got a micro transceiver. Works very well, and it actually has power on-off switches on the keyboard and the mouse, so you can turn it off for extended periods where you don't use it and the batteries won't go dead. Brother MFC 7360N mono laser all-in-one printer. This is wired networking or USB. $129.99, save $70. That's all at Office Max. And finally, at Best Buy, they've got that Leap motion controller that we described earlier, $79.99, and it works with both Mac and PC. PNY 32 gig flash drive, $14.99, save $35. They've got an HP i3 15.6-inch laptop for $369.99. An Acer 20-inch LED monitor for $89.99. Netgear wireless range extender for $59.99. And finally, a Netgear N600 dual band wireless router with gigabit ports and USB for sharing USB storage devices on the network for $89.99. And that's all at Best Buy. And that's it.
That's all?
That's all.
Hey, I have a kind of a story and a question. One of my employees on my team, who lives in the Akron, Canton, Ohio area, his wireless NIC that he had for his desktop that the company provides, and the company doesn't provide these desktops with Wi-Fi connectivity in them. And I never knew until this last week that our previous IT director, had established a policy that they were not going to support Wi-Fi for people who are telecommuting. Everybody had to Cat5. Then I understand the benefits for being hardwired in as far as, quality of voice over IP and so forth. But anyway, his cable connection was down in the basement, and his office was upstairs, and they notified him and notified me that they're no longer supporting Wi-Fi. And so we're looking at options, and I'd heard you talk about these, Spencer, these power line adapters, and
yes.
He was able to configure one of those power line adapters and then hardwire to that device in his office upstairs, and all seems to be working well.
Yeah, they are quite good. I use it to go to my entertainment center downstairs, and I have connected to it. I have a 5-port switch. In other words, I have 4 devices connected: an Apple TV, a Blu-ray player, the television itself, and a computer. So
now, he
really
was saying
does a good job.
I've never used one of these before, but there was some kind of a software encryptor he had to install or for this thing?
You don't have to do that, but you can.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just because theoretically it can be, you can sniff, you have access to the
if
to
somebody
the power
else
in the
is
house, you can intercept the signal.
if somebody else is on the same,
pretty sophisticated to do that, though.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you have to be sophisticated. As long as you're on the same transformer, you can read it.
Well,
You
it becomes.
No, but I mean, is you need to have some pretty sophisticated tools to capture and interpret. It's not. You're not just going to say, "Oh, I'd like to try to do that," and just go online and say it in 10 minutes and learn how to do it. So,
well, when you consider that we're a healthcare company and you consider HIPAA laws and everything,
HIPAA, absolutely,
Right.
you've got to have it. Yeah.
What speed have you got on those? Is it 200 or 500?
What's the
Speed
question?
of-
Normally the speed on them is 200 megabits a second or 500, isn't it?
It depends on the version. The older ones were only limited to like 50 meg.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if you have one of the more recent ones, is it worth going for the 500, or is it not really that much
Yes.
difference than the two?
And that
It all, I mean, it's not a straight out yes or no. It all depends what you do. If you move a lot of files from one machine to the other, you want to have the high speed. If you're just doing internet, it won't do you any good.
Okay.
And you
Right?
need to take into account, too, that the condition of the wiring in the house plays a role in how well it works. And also many houses, at least the way they're wired in the United States, is we have 240 volts coming into the house, which is made up of 220-volt legs. And each of those makes up its own separate, like for example, if you used one of those X10 devices that lets you control outlets or other things across the home wiring, you have to install a bridge between the two halves of your circuit breaker
Phases.
panel in order for the transmission to work across between the two sides. Because without getting into the great detail about wiring, the wire comes into the house and it goes into your circuit breaker panel, and it gets divided into two sides, which are both 120. And they literally are isolated from each other to an extent, at least from a signaling perspective. So you put in this little wireless bridge device, which I have in mind, that lets me jump between. I could not get this power line device to work in every outlet. I had to find an outlet upstairs that was next to a switch that would give me a good signal to downstairs. It would not work in my office where I would have liked it had been. So they're not foolproof.
Did it spark when you put the bridge?
It did. Lightning came out of the outlet. The speed of lightning. New wireless technology. It's made by Tesla.
I would think that they would be bridged at the transformer.
Yeah, but that's too far away for the signal to go. You don't know how far your transformer is away.
Yeah.
And typically in a transformer, I mean, you've got transformer provides isolation.
And if you're trying it at home, do not take a piece of wire and jump between the two phases.
Yeah.
That's
Don't
not
do
going to work.
Yeah. I've been using X10 in the house. I don't use it much during the year anymore. I used to have a lot of like outdoor lights controlled, but when I switched to compact fluorescent lights, you had to get new X10 devices because the traditional mic, I think it's an SCR controlled. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. I'm not sure what device actually is used to provide the switching.
Well, if it's AC, it's a triac.
Yeah. But it would not work with fluorescent or with LEDs.
You're talking about for dimming?
Just switching on and off, because you'd drive by in the neighborhood here and you'd see somebody's front porch lights flashing. It's like, what is going on here? Are they in trouble? And you realize that it's not that at all. They have a electronic timer on their front lights, and because it was a fluorescent bulb, it's a contactless switch. It's electronic. So unless you have one that's a physical metallic contacts that open and close, you can't get a good response. I had to switch my front timer to mechanical because I have LED bulbs in my outdoor lights.
Okay, well, without knowing the specifics, part of the problem, it sounds like the electronic devices were poorly designed because triacs and SCRs and things of that nature, they can certainly be made to be 110-volt switches. What happened with some of the very early electronic thyristor-controlled switches is whenever with fluorescent lights, they are so fast they would turn off each cycle, and they have to relays don't respond that quickly. It's a very complex thing, but LEDs are very quick. I mean, you think about LEDs are used for fiber communications. When you talk about Google Fiber or Fios internet connections, those are actually LEDs shining into fiber optic cables, so they operate very, very quickly. And what happens is with LEDs, they can actually operate quicker than the electronic switch can operate. The electronic switch has to be designed particularly to work in that sort of an environment. And that's a really, really simplified explanation.
And the one issue you run into is that some of these devices don't draw enough power to, for example, I work on cars and motorcycles, and one of the things, a popular modification that you make to a motorcycle is you add LED lighting. You add LED signals and LED features to it. The problem is that the flasher, which is just a little electromechanical device that opens and closes to create your signal, doesn't see enough voltage for it to operate. So it just detects that there's no bulbs, so it doesn't work. So you have to put in an adapter that will work with, like an LED bulb might draw, in the milliwatt range. And a regular bulb would be a 5, 10, 15, 20 watt bulb. It's enough to operate the switch. So it's if you go to the store now and you buy one of these lighting controls, especially switches and dimmers, you got to make sure that it's rated. There are dimmable fluorescents now and dimmable LEDs, but you have to match up the technology to make sure it's going to work. Read the package, see what it says it does and does not support.
Always read the package.
Always. You buy something that says not for use in the United States, well, you have a problem.
At my sister's house in Newport Richey, if I'm where I normally set up on their dining room table, there's a dimmer switch over there. And, sometimes, I'd like to maybe dim the lights down or up. But if I don't have them things either all the way up, I get noise
Yes.
when I'm doing audio. So
Audio is not important.
yeah, thank you.
All right, well, I'll say adios.
Hasta luego.
Take
Have
care.
a great week, everybody.
All right.
All right,
have fun.
Spence.
Demoing
Whoops.
the
I
bathroom.
didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to go blank. Sorry.
Have fun smashing up a bathroom.
Yes. Oh, it's going to be fun. What's neat about it's an older bathroom that was built in the early '60s. So it's tile attached to cement on the walls, cement lath.
Is
which
it
means
pink or aqua?
it's white.
It's white.
But we attacked it with a hammer the other day, and not only after hurting our ears just from the sound of it, it hit it with a hammer, didn't crack. So it's gonna be fun. Going back with the sledgehammer today and the air chisel. So, all right. Have a good week, everybody.
See ya.
All right, Spence, you too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Don't forget to wear protection.
Protection.
Absolutely. Flying bits of tile is not good if you get it in the face.
Mike,
I'm
you,
interested in these power line adapters. I have a buddy who has about a 4 or 5-year-old wireless router. He's having trouble accessing it from his desktop computer upstairs. I probably could solve the problem just by getting a new router and wireless Ethernet adapter for his computer upstairs. But I wonder whether the power line adapter might be a better way to go.
Saves a lot of messing around trying to cable through the Ethernet if you've already got the mains wiring already in the wall. So it does save a lot of messing around doing that. If you use a Cat5e or Cat6 cable, you should be fine.
Well, what I'm saying is he has no Cat 5 or 6 between the upstairs and the router downstairs. He's accessing it on Wi-Fi now.
So rather than running the cable there, he's already got cables in the wall for the electricity. So it's a better way of doing it than having cables hanging about all over the place.
Yeah, he's in a townhome, so I don't know if there's anything funky about the electrical wiring in townhomes.
As long as it's on the same ring main, I imagine it should be okay.
That's what I'm thinking. I wonder if it matters if he's on a different phase.
Could be. I know in the UK we're on 240 volts, and you've got a ring main. Basically, it comes out of the circuit box and then goes around in a big ring and then goes back in. So you have a ring of sockets, and I imagine that's the same over there.
What we do here, though, is instead of 240, we use 120, but we get our 120 by picking off one phase to ground of the 240 balanced. So I'm wondering here that if, let's say, and what they do is to load balance, half the house of the 120 is supposed to be on one phase, the other half is supposed to be on the other phase, so that you don't have one phase that is more heavily loaded than the other. So I'm wondering how these power line adapters work if the computer upstairs is on the left phase, to use a better, easy term, and then the router downstairs where the other power line adapter is plugged in, that outlet is for load balancing purposes, is on the right phase. So I don't know. It's probably
I think that's why Spence said that he couldn't use. He had to find an outlet that is on the same phase.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, I'll be flying out tomorrow to our home office, and we're having a 20th anniversary celebration. Part of that is I'll be leading a 30-minute worship session. We'll put together a band. We've got drums, lead guitar, keyboards, 2 acoustics, background vocals, and all that and so forth. And we have a certain supply of microphones and direct boxes and stuff like this, but to make sure that I have plenty, I'm bringing both my T2005 USB and my ATR 2100 and XLR cables with them. I've also got a little mixer that mixes 3 XLRs into one. But I'm bringing these Audio-Technica mics down with me just to use them within the setup, and so it's going to be interesting to see how they work on a regular house system. You have any ideas or suggestions?
No, I think you'll be impressed.
Okay,
I really do. The sound, the actual sound quality and live reinforcement system is not as critical as people would lead you to believe. It's not as critical an environment compared to listening to a cassette at home and listening to a cassette in the car. The automotive environment, the live environment, is very forgiving. It's not as accurate as the home environment, as an example. And I think you'll find the sound to be fine. What will be interesting is to see what's called gain before feedback, and that is how loud can you run the microphone before it starts feeding back. And my prediction is you're going to be thrilled with it.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this: should I bring the mic holders, or would the standard mic holders be fine for these mics?
No, they are not standard.
Okay.
No,
so I need to bring both
clips.
of these. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
And the reason they are not standard is because they have the electronics in the body of the microphone that requires a larger clip. The clips for these microphones are actually the same ones that are used for wireless microphones. If you see the wireless mics on TV and the clips that they snap them into, they're a larger diameter than the standard. That one, hold that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the larger one there.
Yeah.
And
well, this is the one for the ATR 2100, and I'm sure that, well, they're identical, I can see now. But I always bring the stand with me because I use the AT 2005 when I'm doing my podcast while I'm traveling. So I'll have both of them with me. So I'm going to throw that in the bag. So
yeah, you don't need the stand because the stand adapters are what are called 5/8 threads, which are standard stand adapters. But the other end of the microphone is definitely not a standard one. And I forget what the numbers are. One of them, I think, is something like 30 millimeters. These are like 45 millimeters. But they are the same size as the wireless microphones that you see. The standard size we refer to is like a Shure SM58, which is a standard microphone size. These are about 50% larger than those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to show you the other thing I'm bringing. I'll be right back. So,
Mike, are you going to leave early too?
I'm definitely going to be leaving on time, if not early. Probably early.
You're perhaps familiar with this company, Art Accessories?
Sure.
They make a lot of stuff.
Wait. Is that Applied Research Technology Art that made ProMix?
Yes. Yeah, it's got 3-in-1. Of course, I've got a battery in here right now, but I'll use the AC power. But you can have 3 in and 1 out, and it works really good. It's really clean. It doesn't have a lot of noise. You can see the top of it, how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah. So great little box. This thing has saved me. I actually did a gig one time. I used a Roland AC60. It's a small acoustic amplifier, and it only has one XLR input. And I was able to use this thing and set it right on top. And the AC60's got a hole in the bottom, so you can set it on a speaker stand. And I had that on a speaker stand and had this up on top of it, and it did a really good job. So.
Yeah, I bought a little toy mixer over here a couple of months ago. I haven't played with it yet, but I was just curious. I was actually going to do kind of a joke and post about it, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But it'll probably, state of electronics this day and time, most of the stuff out there is pretty decent. Some of it's garbage, but most of it's pretty decent now. It's just not that hard to design a decent sounding mixer or preamp. Preamp a little different, and particularly when you get into the recording environment, it gets pretty tough. But in that connection, I've been following a thread on the internet in a Usenet group where a guy overseas is really angry with Behringer because he bought a used mixer, and when he turns up the volume on the effects on the mixer, he gets this bzzz, buzzing sound. He's convinced it's a design flaw. He bought another one of the mixers new, and it's doing the same thing, and it mysteriously happened immediately after it went out of warranty. He posted a video on YouTube excoriating Behringer about their lousy design. Behringer actually responded and said, "Send it in, we'll take a look at it and let you know what the story is." He goes back on there and says, No, you have to send me postage. You're going to have to pay the postage. This is obviously a design flaw. I'm not willing to put any more money into this. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, people are jumping all over him, telling him that, they don't owe you anything. Yeah. If it's a design flaw, there's probably nothing they can do to fix it. There's no point in me sending it in. And then the answer is then shut up. if you're going to complain about the quality of a $200 mixer, go ahead and buy one of the $20,000 mixers. These people will really service your needs.
Yep. Right from the beginning, before you even have it, they're servicing your needs.
Service with a smile.
Reminds me of my wife saying, ducks quack. This guy is obviously a duck because he's quacking.
I understand his frustration, but you know, I mean, things that are made by humans break. And when you're selling a budget item, and sure there are problems in there, but how are these people supposed to correct the problem if they don't have the box in front of them?
Right. He obviously was not interested in fixing it.
Well, he is. He's just more interested in complaining about it.
So, Apple's iOS has been... Nick, are you still with us?
I am.
Oh. Anything you want to say?
No, nothing really.
Don't be shy, you know. Apple's iOS has been known as a bastion... How do you pronounce it? B-A-S-T-I-O-N. Bastion.
Yeah, well
said.
Of security for many years. But three researchers have now shown iPhones and iPads can be hacked in just under 60 seconds using nothing more than a charger. Okay, so it's not just the charger, but the Mac-10's charger does delete an official app, say Facebook, replacing it with an official-looking one, which is actually malware, which could access your contacts, messages, emails, phone calls, and even capture your passwords. Apple says it will fix the flaw, but not until the release of iOS 7, the date of which hasn't been confirmed yet. So watch out for chargers left laying around. That's interesting. To get into the iOS with a hardware piece versus a software malware. So some of those...
That kind of motivates me to ask a question I had forgotten about.
Yeah.
Related to hacking. A friend of mine purchased a restaurant that has a router for wireless service for its customers. Free Wi-Fi.
All right.
She's never been able to get into the router because she doesn't have the password. It's a Linksys router, a Cisco router. We've tried everything we could think of. We cannot find the password.
Throw it away.
What?
Throw it away. Buy a new one. Another $40.
Now, having said that, Amnon,
yeah.
What if there's port forwarding for their cash register system or for their security system or something in there that we don't know about?
Can't you factory reset it?
Yes. What if there's port forwarding or other setup in there to allow other things in the restaurant to work that are not apparently obvious to me?
Then she needs to call her POS vendor and ask if there is such a thing. And they'll tell her, oh, yeah, you have to set it up.
Now, if you do a factory reset, by pressing in that reset button and holding it long enough, I know that wipes out a lot of stuff. Would it not wipe out any of those settings?
That's what he does not want to.
What I'm saying is I don't know any way to tell if there are ports forwarded that I would need back.
Here is what I'll do, Mike. Here's what I'll do. I'll go and invest $40, which the time that we discussed it here is already worth. Put it on and see if it works. If it doesn't, plug the other one back.
Is there not a site, I think it's called portforward.com, where you can tell which ports are open and which ports are being used? That might help, Mike.
That might be a
good
thought.
point. GRC has that.
Yeah. It'll tell which ports are being opened and what sort of traffic's going through them.
Right.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, Steve.
Brilliant.
Splendid. I wish I knew... I wish I could help everybody that quickly, inadvertently. It just went in my head like that.
Can she not ask the previous owners?
Yeah, that would be an answer, I suppose.
Mike?
I'm sorry. No. When our owner disappeared.
Oh.
Sorry, I got distracted.
That's okay. It's all right.
Dave is mentioning, and this is kind of my thing here, because they actually have two wireless routers. Dave says he's sure the POS vendor wants any wireless separate. It appears that that is the case. And so what I had decided to do, absent some other solution, what I decided to do was exactly what you're saying, Amnon, and that is to take another router in there, set up the way I know it is set up. And one thing I know that is the LAN is set up to 10.0 instead of 192.
Mm-hmm.
Go in and set that up, and go in and just do whatever setup I can find, substitute a different router and see if everything still works.
Right.
Because I really don't get involved in having to reset up their POS system or anything else that they haven't thought about.
I would go ahead and get that Netgear 400 that has your echoing, and that has two networks on it, a guest network and your own network, and it separates it within the router, which is a lot safer. And it's only like $40.
No, I like that guest network on the Netgear. That I really like that. I use that here.
Yeah, they use that at local coffee shop, and they use their point of service. They're using Square on an iPad at the checkout, and they have a guest network and another network that they use for that.
Right. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I really doubt that there's anything open because it's straight communications with the POS.
Yeah.
There's no...
I'll be back in just a minute.
Okay. Now, Facebook is continuing with plans to launch newsfeed video advertisements, but has faced setbacks with CEO Mark Zuckerberg twice delaying the project amid fears of tainting the user experience. Reports claim Facebook will soon add 15 seconds video advertisements to users' news feeds in a bid to lure big spenders away from traditional television ads and into the social network. So he wants to put ads, but he's given up. He's preparing. He's thinking about the fact that users are going to be pissed off, so he delayed it twice. And I guess it's just the story is still going on, and people talk about it, and you feel what's going out there, and when people are ready for it, he'll probably do it.
Yeah, no, look, they've been doing better. They've been doing better of recent, right? I mean, Facebook's financials much better. Their shares are above the initial offering price now. I mean, why would you take a risk on doing something like this? I would find that very interruptive and intruding to have ads in my Facebook news feed.
Well, I guess they're thinking about money, more money, more money.
Yeah. Well, I can understand their reluctance because if a lot of people didn't like it, then then that's going to cost them instead of help them. I like Dave's comment. Facebook has a user experience.
It's good. Yeah. Good or bad.
Such as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's this story. Technology giant Apple is facing fresh allegations of worker rights violation at Chinese factories of one of its suppliers, the Pegatron Group. China Labor Watch has alleged that 3 factories of Pegatron violate a great number of international and Chinese laws and standards. These include underage labor, contract violation, and excessive working hours. Li Qiang, executive director of China Labor Watch, claimed that our investigations have shown that labor conditions at Pegatron labor factories are even worse than those at Foxconn. The campaign group said that it has found that average weekly working hours in the three factories investigated by it were approximately 66 hours, 67 hours, and 69 hours, respectively. That's the average. Apple, of course, didn't know anything about this, right? They don't know about that.
Well, that's because they've got their fingers in their ears going, la, 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 la.
And did you see where Apple, when they come out with the iPad Mini Retina display, you know where they're getting those displays from for the new iPad Mini?
No.
Does it
Samsung.
start with S and
Samsung.
end
Oh,
in
yeah.
Samsung?
Yeah.
Their
Samsung.
bestest friend.
Yes. It's like kissing your sister.
Oh.
It's like slashing their face and then having to get the needle and thread out to stitch it up for them.
Yesterday, Andrew was saying, Aaron, do you know where your name's coming from? I said, yeah. Which, first or last? He said, first. I said, yeah, he was son of King David. And he said, that's right. I guess he did some reading. And I said, yeah, and he raped his sister. He said, well, it was his half-sister. I said, still sister. He said, no, it was half-rape. It's like kissing your sister. Yep. We were talking earlier about the speed of chips back then when Steve Gibson was talking about 33 megahertz. A paywalled article in the Nature Materials journal describes the use of magnetite to achieve ultra-fast electronic switching, albeit at the moment only an extremely low temperature. According to a story on Quartz, the team led by Dr. Herman Durr from the Stanford Institute of Materials and Energy Sciences hopes to continue the experiment with materials that can operate at room temperature. One possibility is vanadium dioxide. Chips utilizing this technology may operate at clock cycles thousands of times faster than the silicon-based chips used today. So what is 1,000 gigahertz?
I have no idea. What about zettahertz or
I
something
don't know.
stupid, I imagine. Or
I don't know,
zeahertz, as you'd say in the US.
Who?
Zeahertz.
Gigahertz. I don't know, but that's interesting.
Did you hear that Starbucks is switching its wireless provider from AT&T to Google this month?
How can they?
It's supposed to offer speeds 10 times higher. Well, it's an interesting question. I was going to ask you that. I mean, is Google? I mean, obviously, this is not Google Fiber. Google Fiber is only available in one
I don't know that
city.
there's any other Google.
Well, is Google renting space and providing higher? Because they're going to be rolling. It's going to take 18 months for the company's 7,000 U.S. stores, but the company promises speeds up to 10 times faster with the new network. So,
Well, the only way that they're going to be able to accomplish this is if they actually haul the traffic from every location to a central location that has Google Fiber. That's going to cost them a big fortune because they don't have their own cables. They have to lease cables from AT&T, from Time Warner, from everybody. That's not cheap. And I don't know how they can just, I mean, if they can buy service in Raleigh, North Carolina from any provider that can do that kind of speed to multiple users, then that provider, I would imagine, be doing it on their own and charging customers. So I don't know that I don't know how it works. Rebranding. I mean, Dave is saying rebranding. Rebranding who? Who does gigabit access anywhere in the United States other than Google?
I'll tell you, this next week's going to be a busy week for me, but technologically, there's going to be some new things we're trying. I'll be manning a booth at a big convention at the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando. And a couple of things that we're doing. One is we're going to have in our booth for the very first time a charging station. And the charging station is going to has a monitor on it that's going to be playing a looping video of one of our products.
Right.
But you can take your iPhone or your Android device, and you actually rent this little box, and you can charge your device, while you're in a session, then come back and unlock it and get it back. I think that's pretty cool. The other thing we're going to be doing is they're sending us 2 iPads. We're going to be using a program called iLead. I believe it's iLead. And instead of getting new leads by people taking the time to drop their business card and a data, or filling out a little piece of paper and dropping it in a box or something else like that, with the iPad, we're going to be able to scan their name badges for the conference and automatically capture all that lead data. So it's going to be interesting to use some of this new technology next week.
Are they going to be walking around with a badge that just has a code on it, or they're going to have the real name on it in English too?
I'm not sure how it works, but I know the badges have something on it that that's scannable, and so. But the charging station is neat. We have we have an app called PrayerStream, and if you want to know more about that, you can go to prayerstream.com. There's a shameless plug. There's an Android app and an iOS app, but the charging station is going to be playing a looping video about PrayerStream, and so.
A lot of gas stations today do it.
Yeah.
While you're standing there, they're showing you a commercial on on a little screen there.
Yep.
Yeah. Nick, you had a run-in with somebody about ASCAP and all that.
Yeah.
NorthPine.com reports ASCAP is firing back against Pandora Radio's attempt to get lower music royalty rates by buying a terrestrial radio station. Hits 102.7 KXMZ Box El Dorado City. In a petition to deny, ASCAP alleges Pandora has failed to fully disclose its ownership and to adequately demonstrate that it complies with the Commission's foreign ownership rules. ASCAP also alleges that Pandora has no intentions of operating KXMZ to serve the public interest, but it's rather only interested in obtaining lower royalty rates. Pandora reached a deal to buy KXMZ from Connoisseur Media for $600,000 earlier this year, and is already running the station through a local marketing agreement. So apparently it costs less for a radio station license to get ASCAP rights than it is for Pandora to do it as a whip. And I keep forgetting to switch over. I'm sorry. Senor Bruce. But it's interesting. You had a run-in with somebody who's streaming music, and you're trying to just find out how to do it.
Yeah, that was
how
it.
much is the license or whatever, and got you. Sorry, what?
So that's all that I wanted, was to just find out how to do it.
Yeah. A pair of decisions by Motorola and Ubuntu to settle for good enough when it comes to screen resolution for the Ubuntu Edge and the Moto X raises the question: have we reached the limit of resolution improvements that people with average vision can actually notice? I mean, What can you do on a phone or tablet more than HD? Isn't that's an interesting question? They say we don't need anything higher than that. What do you think?
Why don't you want anything higher than that?
Because the eye cannot see it.
Well, they say people with average vision can't see it.
Well, average people have phones.
Yeah, but if I want to watch a movie, I want to see it in the highest possible resolution.
I don't see any sense in it. Bandwidth is one issue. What's it going to do to your bandwidth consumption on your data plan? And I mean, good night. If you're watching it on your phone, even as great as the screen is on the Note 2, HD quality is fine with me. I'm not looking. If I want to have a better experience than that, I'll wait till I get home and watch it on my Samsung flat screen. But that's just me.
Nick, do you really, really watch movies on your phone?
No, but I watch YouTube videos.
You don't cast them now?
Well, I mean, I'm not always home. Like I was out almost all day yesterday, and I watched probably an hour and a half of YouTube videos while I was out.
And if it was in higher resolution, you would actually enjoy it better?
Depends. A lot of the stuff I watch is gaming, and with gaming, there's little itty bitty details there, like little text boxes and stuff like that. That would be nice if I could see it at a higher resolution.
Okay, there's a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to read some text on the screen while somebody's playing a game, and it's
kind
of hard to read.
That's good enough. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Bruce, in your travels, did you ever hit spots where you don't have access?
No, not yet. I'm very thankful for that. In fact, yeah, it's interesting. There's we've purchased Wi-Fi for the. In fact, I've got to remember to pull some of this stuff out because I've got to bring it with me. These convention centers, they do all kinds of crazy stuff when it comes to
access,
right? They want to rent you a T1 line for $1,500 for a few days, or this or that, or they kill Wi-Fi that they would otherwise have. But we got and of course the IT department has already configured the laptop for this, but let me just kind of give you an example here because this will make sense to some of you, and I'll have to make sure I staple this all together. But they sent this show information on the service request for the IP.
Okay.
And there's no way that I'm going into, my laptop and changing all this stuff and then having to change it back. So IT is sending us with a laptop that's already pre-configured with all of this stuff for shared services. But this is the most complicated Wi-Fi connectivity that I've seen in a convention center, since I've been doing this. I did one in Atlanta, and we purchased Wi-Fi, and of course I know that technically I'm sure this is probably not something you're supposed to do, but I brought a little Wi-Fi router with me, and all of our people, we were at a part of the convention center where a lot of people were just inside the door sitting in the venue itself, and it's hard when you're in a venue to get Wi-Fi access because there's 18,000 people in there. But so I had a little Wi-Fi router, little Linksys Wi-Fi router underneath the cardboard box, providing signal for just people in our group to access, to have some connectivity, because we were, some of us were also working, checking our emails and things like that for work. So I'm sneaky.
They need to build routers like an old transistor radio and with an antenna, and you can put it there and it will actually play a little bit music, but it's actually a router.
But for a day or two, and we're not streaming video. We're just kind of getting web access and everything. In Dallas, I just tethered off my iPhone at the time. Of course, I don't have that now, but I had better connectivity tethering on my phone than anybody else in the convention center at the Hilton in downtown Dallas. So,
well, the reason why I was asking you, I don't think I told you the story about Hannah, my daughter, going down to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And for everybody else's benefit, she found out a month ago that if she had the iPhone 4, and they told her that will not work down there, but the iPhone 5 will. I don't know why. I don't know the difference between them, so I don't know why. So she went ahead and she got one, and last week she spent a few hours on the phone with them to find out what kind of access she's going to have and this and that. And they had her buy 100 megabytes of data for texting or whatever down there, and the global services. And anyway, the night she got there, she called on Skype, and she said, "Dad, I don't have any signal." And I said, "So how are you calling?" She said, "It's on the hotel Wi-Fi, and I have to actually go outside in order for it to work." Now, I was thinking Mexico, it's on the West Coast somewhere, but it's actually right on the tip of the that part where you go into the Gulf, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it at Miami or something. So the next day I called Verizon first thing in the morning, and they said, "Oh, yeah, I see. She's got global services, but they did not add it to the phone." So she said, "I just activated it. You need to ask her to turn it off and on." I said, "Oh, really? How am I going to do that?" She said, "Well, if she is on Skype again, tell her." She said, the girl said, "It will actually propagate and get there, but if she wants it faster, she can turn it off and back on." So I sent an IM through Skype. That evening, I got an email. IM back from her, said, "There's no signal." I did what, because the girl over at Verizon said, Verizon will send her a text to do it, and she should get it when it opens up. So I told Hannah to call in via Skype audio, and we talked, and she said, "Well, we were on a boat all day, and we went to Cancun, and when I got close to Cancun, I got signal, so I got all these emails and text and all that. But the minute we left, starting coming back, the signal went away. So I called Verizon again. This time she is on Skype, and I've got them on speakerphone. They can talk to each other.
Mm.
So it took some time, but is this turned on? Is that turned on? And this and that, and finally he said, "Well, let me pull some tools," and he pulls this and he pulls that, and finally he said, "Oh, okay, I'm just looking at the map, and really where you are, we do not have any service." And she says again, she said, "But AT&T, everybody that has AT&T phones has service over there. It's some kind of some kind of roaming thing that apparently they're buying." And he said, "Yeah, well, we don't have it. Yep, I see it on the map now." So, there's nothing you can do at that point except getting a refund and all that. But it's very interesting that, so I said, "So you're telling me that AT&T is better than Verizon?" So the guy goes, "Well, maybe in Mexico."
But, it's interesting. When I was at that convention in Dallas, Verizon guys who were trying to tether like I was, they didn't have any connectivity in the confines of the arena, whereas I had really good connectivity. Another interesting note, J.D. Power, if you can trust them or not, J.D. Power came out this last week, and now AT&T is number one in customer service, having just taken first place away from Verizon. Interesting.
Oh.
Well, That's like saying that gonorrhea is more desirable than syphilis, isn't it?
That's why I prefaced my comment, if you can trust J.D. Power, but it was the news.
It's just the point of measure is nonsensical.
Well, I can tell you this, and I think I mentioned this on a previous show when we were doing this Google Hangout in Charlotte. A bunch of us had gotten together for a hangout in real life. One of the guys from New Orleans had Verizon. He challenged me to an LTE speed test. He had like 18 down and 8 up, and I had no idea what AT&T's LTE in Charlotte would be. It was 45 down and 18 up.
Wow.
Just blew Verizon out of the water, at least in that city, for LTE.
Mike, a side note, is your video frozen or are you off camera?
I assume my video is frozen because, as far as I know, I'm sitting here in front of the camera.
So it's frozen because it's still an empty chair.
Hang on.
Yeah, I see you on Skype, but I don't see you
Yeah, we see the empty chair.
on Bamboozer. Okay. He's starting it back up again.
Yeah. There you are.
Yep.
That
If I could,
may have been something to do with the group video thing timing out because we did. No, it's not been 4.
It's not
only
timing.
been 3. Never mind.
No.
If I may just say a quick hello to Bluebird, who's a friend from a couple of years ago who I met through TalkShoe, and we've just caught up again on Skype, and she's just logged into the chat. So hi, Bluebird, nice to see you.
No, I can't do that.
I can't. Okay, but thanks for
Hi,
let me
Luther.
ask at
We're
least.
glad that you're here.
Welcome.
Any friend of Steve's is a friend of ours.
Oh, bless.
We have
I'm gonna-
a
welling up now.
we have a pair of them outside. So,
By the way, Amnon, I just installed that capacitor, and the unit appears to be working.
yep. I know. I mean, it may not. You still need to get the right one if that's really requires that.
Oh, I will
But,
tomorrow.
yeah. But that's good.
Thank you.
I would have thought you did it earlier.
Well, I had to have it in my hand before I could do it.
And Susan couldn't come here earlier.
She could have, but she had to run some errands. And
Lazy bum.
and furthermore, since she wasn't here to enjoy the air conditioner, it was irrelevant. There was no hurry.
She'd have moved a lot quicker if she was in menopause.
Yesterday.
Or gone and sat in the car and with the air conditioner running.
There you go.
Yesterday, I went downtown for the monthly
You're in trouble.
MIA ceremony, and one of the wives was sitting on a chair. And I said, hi. And she said, hi. She said, we're going to get rid of that heat soon. I said, yep. And then we're going to complain that it's too cold. She said, oh, not me. Yeah. But it's always like that. Where is the hot flash when you need one? They always only come in the summer, right?
You know, I had an
Never mind.
MRI a CAT scan, CT scan, where they inject this stuff in you and they say you're going to feel warm. And I was describing how it made me feel, and she says that's exactly how a hot flash feels. You know, so if that's so, I can understand why it would not be a comfortable experience to have repeatedly.
When Hannah had hers during that before the operation, they told her that she's going to feel like she's going to go to the bathroom. And she said, are you sure I'm not? And the nurse said, you can look. Trust me, you're not. And she said, it felt just like it.
Did you see that Andrew confessed to having hot flashes in the chat? That's really quite interesting. Maybe there's some things about Andrew that we don't know.
Not a whole lot. Jeff was also asking about YouTube Live. We did talk about that pretty extensively through the show.
Yeah, you can
As
listen.
soon as this show is over, it will be replayed. All you have to do is click play, and you'll be able to get it. I don't remember how far into the show we talked about it, but it wasn't really deep.
I got probably closer to 10 o'clock.
Was it really? Was it an hour? And you can skip
so.
ahead in video.
So I came here around 9:40, and right after I got here, we started.
But we talked about it pretty extensively, and Andrew called in. He's done some research on it. So rather than repeat it all, I would refer you to that. If you have any questions, you can let us know.
And to that point, if we were broadcasting on YouTube Live, let's see, would the VR aspect of that enable him to go back to it
Yes, it would.
now?
Yep.
While we're live?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, see.
Even though he wasn't there, with the DVR, you can go back
Yep.
if you recorded it, not.
Nope. It stores it, and then you can roll back.
Yeah, but you have to tell it to store it, right?
No, YouTube does it automatically.
Okay.
There is a checkbox on the where you can uncheck that feature if you don't want it on your control panel on a live event when you're setting it up.
And Ron, we hang around with some crazy people.
I mean, I'm not going to say anything. I was going to say something, but never mind. Oh. Andrew, what are you doing back here? I thought you had to leave.
He can't stay away from us. He's trying to.
I'll get my CT scan.
He's trying to atone for his sins Friday night. He had a very unusual guest on the show, The Free for All, Friday night.
Yeah, he did.
Was that interesting?
I don't know.
Well, I think that it was definitely interesting. Anyway.
Very suggest I take the time to listen to it, or is it not worth it?
I know. I mean, from this last thing that Andrew said, I think he took off and he went and opened another bottle.
Yeah. Of pills and alcohol.
Eye candy. Oh shoot! What was I going to say?
He's sober. That's what the problem is. For those who are not trying to be elusive here, but Andrew had a guest on who is actually public relations for an adult toy vendor.
And she had no problems with her language.
Yes. Pretty bad. Anyway, on to more positive things. I have to go in about a couple of 3 minutes.
And Staten needs to to take off the caps lock, although he's used to.
Is it Staten or Staten?
No,
as in,
Staten.
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 Like Staten Island.
Staten Island.
Exactly. Because
have you
that's
checked
the...
For new additions to your Skype contacts, by the way, Amnon.
The what?
Check for new contact requests on Skype, please.
I don't think. Let me see what this is. Oh, yeah, I do see one.
That's
Anyway.
awesome. Could actually have a female calling in then. Gosh. Steady, everybody.
Uh-oh. Okay.
What?
I have to run here in a few minutes to have to go to the store.
We're going to try to end at noon.
What is this what everybody need to run? Are you guys all into exercise suddenly?
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
That's what I spend my day running.
I try not to run anywhere if I can help it.
Oh, boy. Nick is being recruited.
For what?
You're not watching the chat.
No, I'm playing Xbox.
Oh.
What's going on?
Well, you can see it for yourself.
I don't know. I think I closed it. And what am I being signed up for?
Andrew's saying, Nick, when can you help me with Wirecast?
Oh, I'll be around tonight. Normal time, 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
normally
I
when I
need to
go down
start
to the
doing
home
it,
office,
too.
I'm at the Fairfield Inn with this nice Cat 5 internet connection. I'll be staying at the DoubleTree on the beach with my team, and who knows what I'll find there tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
Hello, Bluebird.
Hello, good evening, or good morning, or wherever you are.
Yeah,
Hello,
it's good noon. It's right. 2 more minutes.
Then it's noon. Okay, that's
Almost
quite early
noon.
then. It's almost 8 p.m.
Where are you?
in Abu Dhabi.
Abu
United
Dhabi.
Arab. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
مساء الخير.
مساء النور. كيف حالك؟ كيف حالك؟
عايشين.
No, you two just carry on. There's no problem.
My Arabic is not good enough for that. Just learning.
It's lovely to hear your voice in Blue.
Same to you. Long time ago.
Yeah, it has been. I'd say I met Blue on TalkShoe when Skypecasts closed down. There was a lot of people that came from the Skypecasts looking for a new venue where they could continue their get-togethers and things. So a lot of people came across TalkShoe when I was also over there. So I met a lot of really nice people. I did mention earlier
Some of
too.
them, that's not me.
Oh yeah, some of them were really great, and some of them were absolutely awful. But we won't mention the awful ones. But I mentioned to Blue just now about Hangouts, and it seemed from typing in text that she hadn't heard of them. So you're really missing something fantastic there.
Okay.
So I'll have to get and talk to you perhaps after the show. It's going to be over in a couple of minutes, so I can give you a quick call on Skype then.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, awesome.
Thank you very much for letting me come into your call, guys.
Well, Amnon's a nice guy, you see. Don't believe everything that you may hear about him in the future, because it's not true.
Uh-oh. There goes Bruce.
Well, yeah. Well, I just want to say, Bluebird, I'm not leaving because you arrived. I have some place to get to, and then I have some responsibilities. Do some music for an event this afternoon. But it's good to have you with us. Your audio sounds great, all the way from Abu Dhabi,
That's good.
and hopefully we'll get to chat again. So.
Great. Yeah, next time I know I have to come a little bit earlier if I want to join.
Hey, Mike,
Yes.
you're frozen again.
All right. Well, I'm leaving anyway.
That's interesting.
And, Bluebird, it's not because of you. Welcome, and glad to have you join us when you will. So you guys take care, and we will
You
talk
too.
again really soon.
Take care,
Okay.
Mike.
Ready? Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Speak to you soon, Mike and Bruce. And Amnon, it looks
All right.
like it's just you
It's
and me.
time. Yeah, it's time. Yeah, but I've got stuff to do.
Yeah, okay. Well,
So
thanks for
everybody
letting me
leaves,
join
I'm
in.
coming and everybody's going.
No, it's not because of you. Believe me.
Okay,
you
no,
came-
I heard before. I listened a little bit, so I know that you all were about to go. So,
But
It normally
please,
starts at
please,
9 a.m. Eastern.
please feel free to join us next week.
I will try to. If I can, working times here is already the week begin on Sundays.
Yeah.
So therefore, but I will try to come earlier. Thank you very much.
Well,
nice
I mean,
to meet
sometimes we stay until 1 o'clock. It all depends.
you. Mm-hmm.
All right.
If
Oh,
people
nice
have got
conversation.
questions, we'll stay here, generally. Okay, well, Blue, I'll give you a call on Skype in a minute. Amnon, thanks for letting me join in. And
Thank
everybody,
you. Thank
Hope you have an absolutely great week.
You too. Take care, Bluebird.
Take care.
And
Bye-bye.
good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And while you're at it, like us on Facebook by clicking the button on the lower left, and go ahead and subscribe to the Nissan Communications channel on YouTube. Tonight at 8 o'clock, it is Carrie's Psychic Cafe. And Carrie will be talking with us about all kinds of psychic things and entertain you. Tomorrow morning at 11, it's Health In with Debbie Bruck, homeopathy and alternative medicine. And at 1 o'clock, it's Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon. So talk to you, everybody.